Well, hello, welcome to what is going to be a real exciting evening of top international sport. I'm Adam Cromarty, Mavis Spencer alongside me. We're here at the Las Vegas National, and this is the Welcome Jumper Speed Classic. A real strong field tonight, Mavis.
Yeah, we've got, I believe, 71 horse and rider entries. This is obviously a qualifier as well for the World Cup itself on Saturday night. So, you know, I think you'll see a lot of people who are going to really try and be competitive here. I believe they take the top 45 back for Saturday, so with 71 in it, that'll be a big determinant. Although, I believe there are some people who are riding two horses in this class.
Yeah, there are. And we've got some of the very best riders in the world, and they just love coming to Vegas. All the riders get a chance to head out down to the Strip to see some shows, to visit some of the top restaurants. And here at the South Point, we are just about 10 minutes from the Strip, and it's got everything here. You can walk through the casino, you can even go bowling between classes. And then when that gets a little bit too much, it's also got some great equestrian facilities as well. Everything all under one roof, and you can even order room service direct to your barn. But we've seen some great sport already here this week, some real great combinations. One of the strongest fields we've seen at this event for many years. And as Mavis mentioned, you know, this is a competition that gets you qualified for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Las Vegas, one of the feature events that we're going to see here throughout the week. But we get ready for the first horse. Let's send it down to Katie Stazak.
Lacey Wallace, Emily King.
Thanks, guys. Well, Leopoldo Palacios really set a challenging track tonight, and it's going to hit people right away. It's very relentless the way he's been going. National Anthem's about to play, and I want to be respectful to that, so we're going to get to that a bit, but it's a big class. The lead is going to change hands a lot here, and the field will be separated with regards to who's going to push for qualification and who's going to push to win tonight.
And bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Well, some amazing vocal talents there this evening. Great to hear the national anthem of the USA as we get ready to see the first combination coming forward here in this 1m50 competition, the Welcome Jumper Speed Classic. Real strong field coming forwards here. Best of luck to all our athletes, and it's about 70 coming forward, Mavis, and I think we're going to see some really going for it tonight. Others might just be looking to, you know, get in the ring, get organised, and hopefully get qualified. But you know, people like Karl Cook are in there, Zazu Hoffman, Charlie Jacobs, some real big names.
Yeah, and I think we're already a couple legs into the World Cup Tour here this fall, so people will be looking to gain more points toward the 2020 World Cup Finals, which will actually be held in Vegas next year, which is very exciting considering it's not been here, I believe, in at least the last couple of years. So obviously, back on home soil, it'll, everyone's really sort of gunning for those points on Saturday night.
As that start list continues, you can see on each page, there's people that are really going to be going for it, like Kristen van der Veen, she never goes slow. Nicola Hine Russ, he's on great form at the moment. Vanessa Mannix is in there. Jen Gates, who's just jetting all over the place at the moment, trying to combine medical school, and we can hear in the background the call has been sounded, and that means the first combination will be coming down to join us in just a sec. If you are watching though on Facebook Live or on YouTube, do get involved with the conversation. Let us know where you're watching from. If you've got any questions, we'll try and answer those as well, but it's always great if you can get involved. If you have just joined us, I'm Adam Cromarty, Mavis Spencer alongside me, and we've got a stellar field waiting in the wings, about to come forward and attempt this track that's set by Leopoldo Palacios, who's kind of known for setting, relatively tough tests.
Yeah, I think Leopoldo is one of the best course designers in the world. He's got a ton of experience at a lot of different venues under his belt. It's really nice to see that there's such an international field of riders here. We have Greg Broderick, who's over from Ireland. He came out on a 3-week tour with his client. Harry Smolders is here. There's quite a few riders that have come out from the East Coast as well to chase points ahead of the World Cup Finals next year. So, I think it's going to be a very good test. The track that he's set, normally I would imagine, even though it's a speed, the time allowed will still be, quite short, as it is with a lot of the courses Leopoldo designs. But I think with 71 in it, you've got to build a bit of a test with a few questions that the riders and the horses need to answer.
Well, M&M Stables is already getting involved in saying, who do you think is going to win? I've got no idea. The fastest one.
The fastest one that leaves all the jumps up.
Exactly.
Which, to just make that distinction, this is a class where faults do count.
Yep.
There is an option of speed classes where they actually add the faults to your time, but faults will carry over into people's scores rather than just increasing their time.
Well, what a way to get underway here. This is Karl Cook, who's going to be joining us first. He's got an amazing string of horses at the moment. He's been jumping all over the place, and this is Caillou. It's a 12-year-old gelding by Cassio. Karl Cook, of course, represents the United States of America, and I think he's really trying to get qualified. We've seen him at quite a few of the World Cups all over North America. He's been adding together those points, and he's definitely in with a shot.
Yeah, this is a horse that Karl has been partnered with for a couple of years now. They have had a lot of success together. Karl himself is no stranger to jumping at this level. I believe he's been to probably 2 World Cup finals now, actually.
Yep.
So it will be interesting to see. Obviously he's the first one to go, so he would probably like to be able to at least watch a few. But again, this isn't a new partnership. They have a lot of experience together, so we'll see how they get on.
Yeah, he won the World Cup qualifier in Sacramento, second at the American Gold Cup. Jumped well in Del Mar. He's a good pathfinder here.
Yeah. This course, again, as with the last class Leopoldo built as well, in a small indoor ring, the jumps come up very quickly, so there's not a lot of time to adjust. You have to be very organized the whole way around.
Yeah, there's lots of twists, lots of turns, a few technical lines in there.
And Leopoldo is very good. The course might only be 150, but he really sets it so that I think you'll see rails fall in quite a lot of different places. Obviously there might be a bogey jump or two, but at the end of the day he really tries to spread it out, and this horse is just really answering all the questions so far. That's quite a wide oxer coming into that double. You can see the horse is just starting to shift a little bit left as they're getting going, so hopefully Karl can keep him straight for these last couple of jumps.
See him just taking a little check down there. But what a great start, 65.81. Karl Cook jumps clear with Caillou, and actually he made that look easy. I think easier than the course is.
Yeah, again, these two have a lot of experience together competing at this level. They've competed at this horse show in this indoor the last couple of years as well. So I think Karl potentially made it look a lot easier than I think it'll end up riding. But, again, it's always nice to have the first one go out there and sort of be the pathfinder and let everyone else know what they need to do.
Yeah, and the other riders will have been watching in the wings without a doubt. Let's get Katie Harris underway next. She's got a horse called Lafino, the 11-year-old stallion. Got some nice lines involved with this one, including Balabudouroué. Katie's another one who's been campaigning quite hard this season.
Yeah, you know, this horse is another one that they've been partnered together for quite a while. He's got a super technique and style of jumping. He's really scopy and gets a lot of air time.
She was 7th in the World Cup qualifier in Sacramento. She's had some good international placings over the last couple of years. And it really helps when you know the horse as well as Katie knows this one.
Yeah, you know, I think building a partnership, especially when you're competing at this level, is very important. You know, you have to have that trust between the horse and the rider as well, and sort of be able to know what, when you're making your plan, what's going to work for them. And I think Katie definitely knows, you know, what's going to work for this horse.
California Jumper says, do the people talking speak back to us? We do. You can ask questions, you can get involved. Ask questions about anything. Mavis will answer them. She's not scared. Isn't that right, Mavis?
I mean, I hopefully can have an answer, but
we'll make one up if we don't.
Yeah. I'll leave that to you. Let's see, this is another one. I think this course is actually riding quite nice. Obviously, these horses, this is the end of a show season, so they've all been campaigning quite hard. These ones have a lot of experience. The first couple, you'll see a few that come in that might be a bit younger with less experience, but the first two seem to have handled it quite easily, quite well.
Well, 67.84, just slightly steadier than Karl's round, but you know, Karl's been jumping a lot of World Cups with that horse, and Katie just goes slightly steadier. But it's still a real nice round from her, and she'll be really happy with that.
Second place, Karl Cook for USA in the lead.
Nice smooth round.
Yeah, you know, she'll definitely be aiming to try and pick up some points on Saturday night, so I think that was a nice round tonight to prepare horse for that.
I don't want to jinx this next one, but this girl has been an absolute fire. One of the youngest in the field today. This is Kelly Cruciotti next with Hadja van Arshoff for the United States of America. The horse is a 12-year-old mare. She just missed out on having a win at the first leg in the North American League this year. That was up in Vancouver at Thunderbird Show Park.
Yeah, this combination, you know, Kelly jumped her first World Cup finals actually in Gothenburg last year. They've been, again, you know, partnered together for a little bit now, competing at this level. Kelly was very successful as a junior rider. She started stepping up to this level a couple of years ago and has had several great horses that have really, you know, she's done very well with, considering her young age.
Yeah, she's only, what, 21, 22?
22, yeah. This horse is really jumping well.
And this is a technical line down here. We saw this in a previous competition, jumping the other way, and it caused some real issues.
Yeah, it seems to be, you know, he changed that out. It was going the other direction, like you said, and it was actually triple bar coming in, so I think it's jumping much better now that he switched that out to an oxer. And again, you know, that's a course builder's decision to build something that's fair to the riders and the horse, but also to try and obviously get the best out of both.
Urban Seahorse says, can't wait to be here on Saturday to watch the Grand Prix. Well, so glad you're coming, because there's always a great atmosphere on Saturday night here for the World Cup.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's hard. There's quite a few people here watching, but it's hard during the week when everyone has work, even though it is a bit of a later class. But Saturday, I jumped this class a couple of years ago, and it was really a great atmosphere. It was a packed house, and everyone had a really good time.
Well, Kelly Cruciotti leaves them all up, goes for that steady one tonight. And as you said at the beginning, Mavis, although this is a Table A speed competition, Leopoldo's times are still going to be part of the test here. She's finished with 2 time faults, so 73.95 for Kelly Cruciotti. Charlie's asking the difference between a jump off and a speed class. So in this one, Charlie, although it's called a speed class, it really is a jumping class. It's not one where we convert faults to time. So it's the one with the lowest number of faults and the fastest time that takes the win. But now we've seen clears, it's all about being quick and leaving them up. This is Charlie Jacob next, Este Planitia. This is another one who's been to the World Cup finals in the past. Charlie's had some nice horses over the years. This is a 10-year-old mare by Namlis, and a Gidam there. And if you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, hit that share button as well. Let all your friends know that they can catch the action live here from Las Vegas.
Yeah, Charlie's actually a veteran of the World Cup finals. I believe he's been to 4 now and trying to qualify for his 5th. This mare is only 10, but she was produced by Jeroen Dubbeldam, who's a very famous rider from the Netherlands, world champion. So she'll have a great education, and they've had a lot of success together already.
Ashley Stanner's watching from AZ. Is that Arizona, AZ?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm glad you knew.
She's actually at the Westworld show this week. You know, there's still a lot of show jumping going on in a lot of other places, so we wish everyone the best of luck at their respective shows, even if they can't be with us this week.
Oh, you're so nice, Mavis. Saying nice things.
Sometimes.
The other thing you mentioned, you know, you can see a few empty seats. There's just so much to do in Vegas as well. That's the other thing. You know, they're really competing against some world-class non-equestrian events that are available about 10 minutes away. I know the riders try and catch shows. Vanessa Mannix was out last night. She went to see a great show, which is just outside Caesar's Palace, called Absinthe. Have you seen that one?
I have not, but I heard it was
so funny.
A couple people have been talking about that today at the horse show, and they said it's amazing. You know, it's a really great show to be able to bring your family to as well. You know, there's a lot to do outside of the show and all that. That mare jumped a really nice round.
Yeah, and just a touch steady, you know, picks up a couple of time faults. And I think the other thing to remember in this one this evening is the riders will all have their own plans. It didn't look like Charlie came in and thought, right, I'm going to, you know, scream rounds here and try and win it. I think he was trying to qualify, and obviously won't be trying to get time faults tonight. Hopefully that's still be good enough to get him through.
Yeah, you know, again, like a lot of these riders, if you do have 2 in the class, the first horse you ride is actually the horse that you declare as your qualifier horse to get you in for Saturday night. So I think especially at the start of the class, you know, you'll see a lot more people being conservative just to make sure that they get in. I think more towards the end, people will start going a little quicker and actually treating it as if they're trying to win the class. But I think, you know, these horses that are going early on will be, for the most part, ones that people are jumping Saturday night. So again, you'll see people being a little bit more conservative as far as their ride goes.
Already on track, Zazu Hoffman, and this is a horse that she knows super well. It's called Samson II. They've done a lot together over the years, and this wouldn't be everybody's ride. I think Zazu does a great job with this one.
Yeah, this horse is 15. Zazu's been riding him for the last couple of years. They've had a couple of great wins at Spruce Meadows, Thunderbird. She won the World Cup at Del Mar last year, the World Cup qualifier with him. They've represented the United States on several Nations Cup teams. So again, I think Zazu is a young professional. It was too bad, just caught that one behind. But again, you know, she does a great job with this horse.
She's had 3 placings on the World Cup circuit already this season in Del Mar, Sacramento and Vancouver, top 10 on all 3 of those occasions. So I think she's got World Cup finals in the back of her mind as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Time-wise, 63.21, so she's the fastest we've seen so far. And unluckily just having that one rail down on course, so finishes on the 4 there. Zazu Hoffman for the USA with Samson. Taking a look here. Just trying to came across at the angle there.
Yeah, it looked like she just didn't quite get squared up enough at the end, and he just caught it behind. But again, that'll be the horse that Zazu is jumping on Saturday night. So as much as she'll be disappointed, I think she'll be more interested in trying to pick some points up on Saturday.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Carrie-Anne Boyce Lockhart now. Pharaoh DC comes forward next. Another representative of the USA. Lots of US riders here this week.
This is a 13-year-old gelding that, 14-year-old that Carrie-Anne actually has been riding for the past 6 years. I believe it was one of the first horses that she started jumping in FEI, and they've sort of moved up the ranks together, and they've built up a really solid partnership. Hard that Oxer is out of a very short corner at the end of the ring, and I think he just hung up a little bit there and didn't quite get across the back rail.
She's having to ride every single stride out there.
Yeah, you know, it just started drifting a little bit right on her and obviously caught the standard.
And down those lines, it looks like there's loads of room to make corrections, but actually those fences come at you so quickly.
Well, and you know, especially too, that you don't have a lot of long lines in these small indoor rings. Bit of a miscommunication there. So, you know, again, you don't have a lot of time to adjust. You have to be really organized and sort of make a really good plan before you go into the ring.
Well, second disobedience there.
Yeah, again, you know, you don't have much time to sort of get to that fence. You have to sort of come through the middle of the ring there, and it's a bit of an inside turn, and if they don't get their eye on it, I think there was just that bit of a miscommunication.
And I think that was the theme there. I think it was just, you know, those minor communications. You know, she was saying, you know, wait, and he looks a little bit strong.
Yeah, and it's hard too, you know, especially if you are a West Coast rider. We don't get many opportunities to show in a small indoor ring like this. Most of these riders will have come from Thermal last week, which is a large outdoor arena, and even before that, in Del Mar again it's a very large ring for a quote unquote indoor. So you know, a lot of horses come here, and even if they do have a lot of experience, it'll be the one time of year that they jump in a ring like this.
Well, great to have so many of you watching on Facebook Live and YouTube. Yasmin White says, come on, Kristen van der Veen. Kristen's got a couple in this. And Teresa Seltzer says, hi, Mavis.
Hi, Teresa. Tell Tana I said hello.
Let's get Abigail McArdle out on track then with Victorio. Get another one for the USA. 13-year-old stallion.
Yeah, Abigail is a rider for the Prudent family. They've actually come out here. They were here for the last 2 weeks in Thermal and have come out for Vegas as well. So it's really nice, you know, to sort of get a different group of people here than what we're used to seeing. And obviously she'll be going for some World Cup points. She's a very competitive rider, so you know, you'll see her probably try and be a bit quicker in her rollbacks and that kind of thing. She's been quite a bit tidier.
Yeah, she rode great in Thermal. She was top 10 in the World Cup there. See her really using that upper body through there.
Yeah,
that was class.
Really made a good effort out.
She's got great natural feel. You can see her, you know, saying wait and then saying go.
Yeah, and you know, training with Katie and Henri, they are obviously legends in the sport and have a very, very good program. Reed Kessler rode with them when she was back and was placed in the million and screws and things like that. So they did a very good job, and there you go. You see Abby taking over the lead.
She deserved that, absolutely. 64.84, so straight to the top there for Abigail McArdle.
Yeah, she'll be really happy with that round. That horse jumped super.
Let's take another look around here.
Yeah, and she sat still with her body and just let him help her out there. She probably got a little bit deeper than she would have wanted, but she gave him every chance to jump it, and obviously he gave it to her.
Well, the lead changes then. Abigail McArdle now leads. That pushes Karl Cook down to second, and Katie Harris slips down into third place. So that's our top three at this stage. Long way to go in this one, about 17 total starting. Harry Smolders is next. Hocus Pocus de Muse. That's the name of this one. Harry, of course, representing the Netherlands. Horses by Tinker's Boy out of a For Pleasure mare. And although he's happy to be here in Vegas, I think he's here really because he trains Jen Gates.
Yeah, they've been, Harry's been helping her for quite a while, not quite a while, but a little bit of time now, and I think you can really see the difference in Jen's riding. She's really stepped it up. I know she's obviously flying back and forth and sort of balancing this along with med school, but Harry's got a great program, and she's got a great group of people behind her and horses, and really, really happy for her. This is a lovely little horse. It's actually quite small. Harry is very tall himself, but this horse is probably only about 15.3, but it's got a huge heart and a lot of jump. And I was speaking to one of his grooms yesterday, and he said that this one has no idea how little she is. That was too bad. Skinny fences. It was quite a challenge in the last class as well, and just caught him out there.
And then he had a great recovery after that. Organised the canter within those couple of strides and got it back in the air.
Yeah, like you said, Harry's focus will be to help Jen this week. And then I believe he'll be showing in Prague next week for the global finals. Still jumping a very good round here.
Yeah, he's a real master. Finishes on the 4 today, 63.97. Harry Smolders heading into 7th place on the 4 faults. Hi to David watching in the Philippines, Delwyn's in Australia, Alex in Peru. If you are watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, let us know where you're watching. Remember and hit share as well. And again, if you've got any questions, anything you want to know, do feel free to ask. That horse has got a great back end.
Yeah, she jumps well. She tries very hard. It's very careful.
Kristen van der Veen, she's got a couple in this. I know someone mentioned online that they were looking forward to watching Kristen. This one's called Bull Runs Almighty, represents the USA. Do you want to know a fun fact about Kristen?
Hit me.
She's never had a TV.
Really?
Really?
Wow. That's very rare these days.
Yeah.
I actually would, if you yeah.
Fun fact. There you go.
Yeah, she's had a lot of success. I believe this is the 3rd year she's come out and shown here. And she's always had, never walked away from the show without at least a win. She's a very competitive rider.
Yeah, she went over to Europe for the first time this year. I saw her at Lausanne. She just arrived. Never been to Europe before, and she took 6 horses with her.
Wow, that's a busy European tour.
Yeah. But she placed well over in Europe, now back in North America. Whoa, I thought that was going to stay for a sec.
Yeah, she just got a little bit caught in that turn. I think ended up a little closer than she wanted to. But I believe she has one more coming later on in this class, so I think she'll probably use this one to sort of feel it out. I imagine this horse will be the one she is jumping on Saturday night, so I think you can expect to see her go quite a bit quicker with her next one.
Yeah, she was the leading lady rider at Tryon this year. She's had 3 wins at that venue with this horse this season.
Yeah, this is a big jumper. It's very scopy. I wouldn't say he's necessarily her choice for the speed aspect, but definitely has more than enough scope for these classes. That's too bad.
Yeah, not like that combination, to be fair.
No, but again, I wouldn't say this horse has had that much, many rounds indoors this season yet. So again, for a horse like that that's been competing outside so much and in big arenas, it's a bit of an adjustment to come in here. You can see there just a little bit closer than she wanted. That back rail got a little far away.
Yeah, the fences come at you so quickly, but also the ring's kind of sunk down. Everyone's on top of you. You've got the video board and the banners, tons of flowers in here. Louise Saunders says hello from New Zealand. She's watching Down Under. Jerry says, I love watching these majestic animals. And here comes Guy Thomas. Jean-Pierre Zed. I think he's actually based in the US now, though.
Yes, Guy's been over here for a number of years. His family operates Willow Tree out of Northern California. They have a lot of clients here as well, which I think is a bit of a difference. This is a horse show that starts at 7:30 in the morning, and there are hunter classes, equitation classes, so a lot of these trainers have a lot of other horses here and clients that they're helping as well, so the days get quite long. But this is a horse that Guy has had for a couple of years now. It's too bad. He's 17 years old, actually, so hats off to them for their management. A lot of people these days think that older horses don't have, the same level of use, and they're constantly wanting to buy younger ones, but obviously this horse is 17 and still competing at this level. He had a great show at Del Mar and at Sacramento, actually. So.
Yeah, just a little bit unlucky here tonight. Sits on the 16 at the moment.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think, again, he'll probably try and keep going, though. His aim will be to jump on Saturday night, so I can't imagine that he'll, pull up and retire.
Yeah, the way that the FEI rules work is you've got to complete the competition, so that's why he'll be wanting to keep on going, because I think normally if it was another competition, the horse being 17, they've only got so many jumps in them, he may have been tempted to call it a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Alicia Marshall's just agreeing with what we've been saying. It's so hard doing it in a small arena and inside, and probably more so on the West Coast and over here, because a lot of the shows on the West Coast stay outdoors because they've got the weather, where over in Europe, when it gets to this time of year, you just can't jump outdoors.
Yeah, you know, we are very fortunate with that. We spend a majority of our year showing on very big grass fields. Our weather is nice, and you know, again, our few indoor shows, Sacramento was the first of the World Cup shows this fall, and then you head to Del Mar, which again is a very large indoor arena. It's more of an outdoor feel really when you're jumping in there. And then obviously Thermal is a very large outdoor, so this is, you know, quite an adjustment for horses and riders. And even though it's already Thursday, and you know, maybe these riders have been competing at this level all year, it's still quite an adjustment.
Vigo Borkelin comes next with Zalubay. Just noticed that Charlie Jane is also watching, who I think's actually here. I'm sure I've seen him somewhere.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's out in the casino or something watching. Is he not jumping in this?
Well, the nice thing is there's actually a live feed from your room, so he goes quite a bit later, so maybe he's the type of person that, you know, can relax and put his feet up before he shows. I know I was definitely a bit of a nervous Nelly. I would never be able to switch off like that, so good for him.
Anyway, let's get back to Vigo Borkelin now, on course and just having that. And a couple have already had that, Mavis. You know, it comes up you quite quickly off the corner there.
Yeah, this is a horse that Vigo hasn't had for that long, but he's already had quite a bit of success with it. He won the 2-star Grand Prix, the Welcome Week of Sacramento. But again, you know, it's early on in the course. It's off quite a short turn there, and that Oxer is quite wide, especially at the beginning of the course. So obviously this horse is starting to open up and jump better now, but it just caught him off guard a little bit that early in the course.
Delwyn's on Facebook Live asking, do we have any Australians? We do. We've got Harley Brown coming a little bit later. A couple from New Zealand as well, and I know it's not the same before you have a go at me. But yeah, we've got one Australian, 2 New Zealand.
New Zealanders.
New Zealanders.
There you go.
There we go. I'm so glad you're here, Mavis.
What would you do without me?
Missed you. It's been a whole year.
I know. Thank God they don't have me do this too often.
4 for jumping, 1 for time today. Finishes on the total of 5. 71.15 the time. Deborah's watching.
He goes a little disappointed with that round. It was an early rail, and then the horse jumped very well after that. So hopefully he'll still be able to get in for Saturday night. I think this will probably be the horse that he uses.
Yeah, there was a lot to like about that round, to be fair.
Yeah, the rest was very nice.
Deborah's watching in Nebraska. Jeremy from Georgia, USA. Rachel says, how big is the ring?
That is an excellent question. I actually have a prize list here. So
Not very.
Not yeah. That would be the short answer.
Well, plenty of talent still to come forward. Chenna McIlvaine about to get underway with Wall Street RC. Chenna, of course, represents the USA. Wall Street looking very keen tonight. So at the moment, Abigail McCardle leads, 64.84 time to beat. If you have just joined us, I'm Adam Cromarty, Mavis Spencer alongside me. And do remember, this is a speed competition, but not everybody will be riding against the clock. For some of them, they just want to get qualified for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Las Vegas. That takes place here on Saturday.
Yeah, this is a 12-year-old stallion by Cardento. I think Shanoa and her family are based out of New Mexico. They have quite a big farm there, and I think this horse actually does quite a bit of breeding as well. We were talking about that in the class earlier, actually, how much, you know, the American breeding has really sort of increased in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
You know, before I think everyone sort of thought that they needed to go to Europe and buy horses and import, but there's a lot of barns now, Shanoa and her family included, that have done a really good job, you know, breeding some really excellent horses that have started jumping at a high level.
And there's no reason why, you know, a sort of bigger breeding program couldn't be developed over here for those that have got their own property. I think it's very difficult for anyone else to, because it's just so expensive here to board horses and stuff. I think that's maybe why they still import quite a few from Europe.
Yes, yes, for sure. This horse is jumping a really super round though. She'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, just picks up a time fault, but you can see that big smile as she goes across that finish line. She's completed, and I think that quite, you know, is a really good chance of qualifying for Saturday. We've actually got 3 on two faults, on 2 time faults, and she's the fastest of our 2 falters, so heads into 4th.
Yeah, you don't see that very often.
That horse has got some really nice scope.
How tall is Wall Street?
Quite tall.
Yeah, I would say he's probably 16'3", maybe.
That's what I
17
was
hands?
thinking. Yeah, about 16'3". Adrienne Sternlicht comes forward next then. She's represented her country a few times, and she's got Benny's legacy with her tonight. She trains with McLean Ward, who's not jumping at this event, but I did see him out there walking the course with her.
Yeah, he was actually competing in Toronto last week. Adrian won the World Cup qualifier in Thermal last week on this horse, while McLean was showing in Toronto, and now he's come out to help her for the week. They've made a great team so far. This is a fairly new horse for Adrian that she purchased from Andrew Bournes, and he's got a lot of experience at this level, so they've really gotten off to a good, strong start for this new partnership. Again, this horse is jumping a very nice round tonight.
Adrian's such a top athlete and very focused.
Yeah, and you can see she went inside there. She was actually a part of the team at WEG last year that won the gold medal, which was a big goal of Adrian's with her absolutely incredible mare Crystalline. That was really exciting for her, and now she's put together a really solid group of horses with McLean, and she's had a lot of success with a lot of different horses now at this point.
And this is a really exciting one. You mentioned that she won the World Cup in Thermal. It was with this horse, and while she was there, she was also second in their $40,000 Desert Classic.
Too bad that rolled off backwards.
She's going to be a bit frustrated. She's looking up at the clock as well. So when it comes to the 4 fault rounds, we've got 3 of those. She's actually the steadiest of them, 66.17, because she wouldn't have been in here trying to win tonight. She'll have been trying to qualify. So she wouldn't be kind of going for that fast time. It'd be about an economic round and just trying to stay clear. And that could have stayed in the cups. It looked like she barely touched it, and it rolled around a bit.
Yeah, that was very unlucky. And again, after jumping that big round at Thermal last week, I would say, again, her focus would be Saturday night. So to go in and have a nice round like that, the horse jumped really well, rode nice, wasn't spooky. So I think it was a very nice setup going into Saturday's round.
Victor's asking why is the curtain up, and it's just like they do at other concerts. It's just an area where people can't sit, because this is a huge arena. There's tons of seats. So that's why it's there. And he says, why can't people sit there? Well, they can sit there, you just get a terrible view. Jessica Gleason on track, just takes that rail with Carafina for the USA, and now sits on the 8. She's still thinking forward though.
Yeah, this horse looks like it kind of likes that way of going, just to let it travel across the ground. Some horses are a bit slower and some horses have a bit more blood, and this one looks like it just naturally wants to be a bit quicker.
She had a couple of placings at this event here last year.
Again, with the small indoor like this, all the fences are so connected, things sort of start to almost snowball a little bit, and you don't really have a moment where you can reorganize and get things going, but it looks like she's going to finish up quite nicely here.
Yeah, it jumps nicely down that final line. 66.51, total of 20 there for Jessica. She said though, Mavis, this horse, it's naturally forward, it's got quite a lot of blood, but it looked like it started to just relax and settle down a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, and it's another one, maybe another class under its belt, and it'll just keep getting better and better.
Well, still a long way to go in this one. Seen about 14, 15 come through so far. This is Mariano Muji coming forward next for Sweden with Sanvano. Mariano here is an athlete but also a trainer. He trains Uma O'Neill, who we're going to see in this competition a little bit later on.
Yeah, I think Mariano came over to the States last year, I believe, to start helping Uma.
Yeah.
And they've had, quite a lot of success together. This is a horse that he's been riding for quite some time, and you can see it's a very, very scopy jumper, very careful, and Mariano does a fantastic job with it. It's quite quick for a big horse still. Just jinxed it. That was too bad.
Yeah, he was jumping at Spruce Meadows over the summertime, so was Zuma. And he was placed on numerous occasions there with this horse. I don't want to keep mentioning it, but I think, you know, being indoors, it is so different to jumping somewhere like Spruce Meadows.
Yeah, and you know, the biggest thing too is, as you can see with like the last round and even here now, it's hard because you don't really have a moment to take a breath. You know, everything is so connected, especially the way Leopoldo designs the courses. You really have to be on top of it from start to finish. I would say this is sort of the first moment you have on course to really take a deep breath. And, you know, sometimes it just doesn't work out. It makes it very important, your track, your pace, all of that sort of thing, because you don't have a lot of time to make adjustments while you're going around.
Total 20 here for Mariano Mugi and Silvano. 68.86 is the time for him. No change to that leaderboard, of course. Abigail McCardle still leading, Karl Cook second, and Katie Harris down in third place. Connie's asking, how do they decide the order of go? In this competition, Connie, it is just a random drawn order. When it gets to the World Cup, though, on Saturday, there's two ways they can draw it. They can either use the result of the qualifier, or they can split them into their group based on the Longines rankings and then do a random draw in those groups. Moving on then, and here comes another nation. We're off to Mexico. Eduardo Hegavesh and Ekros the fourth, 11-year-old Ainabab Derev.
Yeah, this is a horse that, you know, Evie competes a lot out here on the West Coast. He's had a lot of placings in Del Mar, the show in Petaluma earlier this year in Split Rock, the Santa Fe show in New Mexico as well. It's a really good horse. You can see he kicks out there, he really puts an effort in.
Yeah, he's a man that's been to the World Cup finals in the past. It's almost like the horses are anticipating that turn.
Yeah, and I think, you know, with the short turn on the front side and the back side as well, I think you really have to think about letting them finish their jump straight and allowing them to get across that back rail. And again, you know, as I was walking the course, it was something that all the riders were taking note of, is, you know, how wide that oxer was, and they really have to stretch across there.
It's a really exciting time for show jumping in Mexico. They've got more international competitions than they've ever had before, and their team just seems to be getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, they had that absolutely incredible win at Dublin last year. They qualified at the Pan Ams for Tokyo as well. I think, you know, they've got a really strong group of riders and horses, and it's, again, quite a mixed batch. You know, you've got a lot of young riders coming up for that team, and established riders as well.
Let's have a look at the result there, and it's 4 jumping and 1 time. Total of 5 for Eduardo, 70.60. M&M Stables says they're going to bed.
Yeah, I know. That's the hard thing with the time change. It's already so late back east. I know it's nearly past my bedtime, and it's 8:15 here.
That's because you're getting old, Mavis.
I know.
Ali Leopold next in. This is de Barbeg. Wherever Jennifer's watching, it's just past 3 o'clock. Where are you, Jennifer? That it's just past 3 p.m. Must
Hawaii,
be.
maybe? Oh yeah. Sloan says, wish we had you out here more often, Adam. Oh, how sweet. Hi, Sloan.
Don't you wish that, Mavis?
I'll let you know by the end of the week.
Okay. Let's get Ali on course, though. For those that are trying to beat the time, 64.84 is the challenge. And if you've just joined us, this is 1 round. It's directly against the clock. But some are just trying to qualify for the World Cup. Some are being so competitive, but it's a strong field of about 70 here in this one. But the riders will all have their individual plans based on the horses they're riding.
Yeah, and this is a horse that Ali has had for a few years now, and they've really sort of moved up through the ranks together. Her and her partner Florian made a trip out to the East Coast this year and showed at the Split Rock show in Kentucky. And then I believe they ended up in Tryon as well before they came back out to California. And, you know, Ali even said herself they had such a great time showing out there and getting that bit of different experience. And I think it really, you know, helped with her riding as well, she said, to sort of have that. And I think the horses as well. That was too bad.
George is asking, will the Saturday class have a free live feed? Well, that's the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Las Vegas. It does have a live feed. It's not free though. It's on FEI TV. If you do want to watch, make sure you get signed up and organised. That takes place here on Saturday. It's quite a late one. I think it's about 8:30 local time. She tried to do everything she could round to the Liverpool, and that was a bit of a knock-on effect. Like a boulder rolling down a hill. There's just no space to organise the canter between those two questions on course. She's going to finish on the 17, 72.89 there for Ali.
You know, I've been warned of the commentator's curse. Needs to be more mindful.
It's a thing.
I clearly, I don't think Ali will be thanking me for that later. It's too bad there. Just got a little squirrely in that turn.
It's been an interesting one so far because those first few riders that came in, you know, made it actually look really, really easy. And now we've actually seen what this course contains. There's a lot of technical questions out there, some really gymnastic lines. Cassio Rivetti next. Serious.
Yeah, I mean, Cassio really needs no introduction. He just moved here at the start of this year to ride for Neil Jones. He spent a number of years riding for the Ukraine. Actually I think he's been to 2 Olympics now. He was 12th in London in 2012 individually. He's done 3 World Equestrian Games, 2 European Championships, and now he's back riding for Brazil. His first time riding this horse was actually last week, and he just had a fence down in the World Cup qualifier on Sunday. So I think, you know, to start off a partnership that strong is
and still finished 8th.
Incredible, really, yeah. This is a really nice horse, though. You can see he's put a lot of effort in. Cassio is probably one of the first ones that we've seen who's you know, ramping his speed up a little bit. And with a horse like this that's so careful and really wants to leave the jumps up, you can do that.
Charlie says, watch this. This is a rider.
Yeah, that was really...
I think you might have jinxed this one, Charlie. But, you know, Cassio's a real top-class athlete, as Maeve has said. You know, he's got so much experience, and he's produced some great horses over the years.
And, you know, that was too bad. I think being a dealing rider, you know, he rides so many different types of horses as well that he can really get on, and it's rare to see someone who their first horse show out would immediately walk into, you know, the FEI division and then not only do that, but then end up using that horse in a World Cup qualifier. And I think it speaks, you know, worlds to, you know, what he thinks of this horse and its quality and all of that.
And that's something you've done as well. You've been there on sort of dealing yards and ridden lots of horses, and I think it really helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know, I think at the end of the day, as many rounds as you can get in makes you a better rider. I think riding a lot of different types of horses, you know, the hardest thing is the good ones end up getting sold. But I rode for Neil for a number of years, and he was always really good. You know, he would keep a couple in there to make sure that I had ones to ride, and that I was always, you know, still able to compete at the top sport and competitive. And now, I mean, he's got a world-class rider in Cassio, and they've won a ton together this year. Their sales are still very, very big. So I think they'll be, you know, slightly disappointed with that result, but onward to Saturday night.
And onwards to Jenny McAllister, Escada VS. She's been to a couple of World Cup finals in Lyon and also Omaha. That's another one just catching that back rail.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always sort of bogey fences on course, and that's definitely a spot. If I had to put my finger on it, even when I was walking, I would have said that was going to be, you know, a tough spot in the course. Oh, Mare really trying hard there. This is another one you can tell she's a little fussy. Jenny's got her in a hackamore just to try and maybe keep her a little bit happier, but you know, you don't have nearly as much, not control necessarily, but as many options as you do when you're riding with a bit.
Yeah, it's just completely different. For those that are watching online and are a little bit new to the sport, so a hackamore's a bitless bridle, and rather than having a metal bit in the horse's mouth, it puts pressure on the nose and also the poll, which is just at the top of the horse's head in between the first 2 vertebrae and the atlas and the axis. A couple of rails down there. for Jenny tonight. Finishes in 68.42. Total of 8 faults.
This mare has quite a bit of blood, so, you know, from what I've seen watching her show, she's definitely one that gets better as the week goes on. I would imagine she's the one that Jenny will want to use on Saturday night, so hopefully, you know, she has a better result then.
Urban Seahorse says that Oxer really seems to be getting the horses out. Seems like they're taken by surprise by the back rail.
Yeah, you know, again, I think especially early on in the course like that, off the short corner with it being such a wide Oxer, I think they're definitely struggling a little bit. And as well, you know, you're already continuing left, so I think when horses shift left a little bit in the air, obviously they're making that jump wider as well. So a lot of factors coming into play there.
Erin Ballard comes forward next then. Ranked within the top 100 in the world and placed a couple of times in Toronto last week at the Royal Windsor Fair. She represents Canada with Fellini S, and this is some horse.
Yeah, I mean, Erin is hands down one of my favorite riders. She's so light, she's so effective. You rarely see her make a big move. She's very sympathetic. Any horse she gets on, you know, she figures out all the buttons and really gets them to give them her best. They all really love her, and not only that, I mean, she's great in the hunter ring as well. She's got a big training business up in Canada, so I think it's really nice to have her out here. She's so talented. There we go, commentator's curse.
Yeah, never fails. And for her, it's all about qualifying for the World Cup here on Saturday. Fastest 4-fault round we've seen, 63.21. 8 faults is going to move her down to about 12th place at this stage, and a long way to go in this. There's about 70 in total.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see, actually, something that I need to look up is how many double rides there are, because even though there are 71 in the class and they take back 45 for it, there are some double rides, so, you know, that'll end up influencing how many people end up getting in, so you have a bit of a better idea depending on what your score is.
Well, it's 8 faults tonight for Erin, 62.37.
You can see that horse just jumped up so high in front and didn't quite make it across the back rail at both of those Oxers.
Again, if you are new to the sport, all the back rails on those Oxers are actually sitting on what we call safety cups, so they break away. So if you land with any weight on, even if they don't push out the cups will actually give way and the rail will come down to the floor.
Yeah, that was a great change they made a number of years ago, just for the safety of the sport. It doesn't take much to knock them down, but at the end of the day, you know, everyone's looking out for the best interest of the rider and the horse. So I don't think it makes a massive amount of difference as far as, you know, making the level of the sport more difficult. I think just as a safety thing, it really was a great change for them to make.
Here's Peter Lutz on track, another man who's been to the World Cup finals in the past. This is Quinta. He gave that a rattle, but for him it stayed up.
You can see he's really having to ride quite hard here.
Someone's asking about your new horse. Says he's so pretty.
Oh, my cow pony, yeah. He's not quite ready to jump these classes, but maybe one day, we'll see.
Stephanie's watching in South Africa, says it's 6:16, should be getting dressed and starting their day. Instead, they're going to make another cup of coffee and watch this. Quite right too.
That's too bad. Again, that Oxer's out of the short turn. Finished up well though.
Yeah, just before 65.80 the time, so second fastest of the 4-fault rounds. Takes him into 9th place at the moment, looking to be part of that top 40, of course, to qualify for the World Cup here on Saturday. That goes 9th at the moment. Abigail McCardle still leads though, 64.84. Karl Cook second, Katie Harris down in third at this stage. So that's our top 3 here. A few have struggled with this fence and just catch the back rail. You can actually see the safety cups giving way there.
Yeah, Urban Seahorse says that Oxer really seems to be getting the horse out. Seems they're taken by surprise by that back rail. And I think as well, Mischievous said, I think the stripes in the rail create an optical illusion on those back rails, and I have to say I agree. I think they're misjudging that off the corner and just really not quite getting the width there.
This is Nicola Hine Russ already on track. He represents Denmark. The horse is called Cadillac. And Nicola's got a great string at the moment. He's based at Spruce Meadows, so he's got access to some great horses there. But he is doing a tremendous job with them.
Yeah, and this horse went as his second horse to the European Championships earlier this year and jumped some really great rounds there. So his other horse is taking a bit of a break after doing that, and he's using this one for tonight's qualifier.
This is the one that was second in the World Cup qualifier in Del Mar. A couple of top 10s in Thermal last week. Some very good form. Carol Driver says any clears at this stage. We have seen 3 clears. Top 3, Abigail McArdle, Karl Cook and Katie Harris, all clear at the moment. And remember, this is 1 round against the clock, so no jump off in this one. It's all about being clear and quick in round 1.
Yeah, and he's definitely putting in a very, very fast round here.
A smooth turn there as well. This is quick. Is it good enough though to go to the top? 64.61. Yes, it is. Nicola Hine Russ now leads, pushes long-time leader Abigail McArdle down to second. Karl Cook heads into third. Michelle Lawrence says, love this horse.
This horse is only 9, but he's got a tremendous amount of scope and a really top jockey on him. So he jumped a really, really nice round there. Has a big future ahead of him.
Well, new time to beat, 64.61. That's added a little bit of pressure on, but of course some great combinations still to come forwards. It's also a huge field, which is nice to see. Kristen van der Veen, we saw her a little bit earlier, had a bit of an unlucky round with her first, finished on 12, but now comes back with Bull Run's Prince of Peace.
You can see he's got a red tie on his bonnet, which means he probably has a few small traffic problems in the warm-up ring, especially in a show like Vegas. Both the warm-up arenas are quite small, so it's just a gentle reminder to people to try and be aware of that and give her a bit of extra space.
All the athletes we see tonight are hard workers, but she especially is just such a hard worker.
Yeah.
She's really brought her string on. Shauna Cook says, way to go, Nicola Hine Russ. That was a super round, Shauna.
I'll be very happy with that. And for those asking about the breeding, he is Korlensky El Bundy. He's a 9-year-old Hanoverian gelding.
Yeah, Spruce Meadows for a long time really just stuck to Hanoverians in their breeding program. But now they are starting to introduce more and more. What's happening with Kristen here?
I just took a look down to go over the breeding and I missed what happened.
Well, that horse just not liking that. Even when she came back round after popping in that circle, he still just kind of stuttered a little bit on takeoff.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. It didn't look like anything happened the first time. Just gave a good effort at the end fence.
Someone says, when will we see Mavis back in this arena?
Probably next year. We will see. Actually, I do have a show coming up next month. So Phoenix's first horse show. We'll see how it goes and we'll work our way up from there.
The only issue with that though, Mavis, is who's going to sit where you're sitting if you're in the ring? I would miss you too much. You can't do it.
Well, I think it'll be a while before he's up to jumping these classes since he's never been to a horse show before. But you don't have to worry about that unless he's a mini genius.
Well, it's just not been her night. I mean, she is a sterling athlete. She's had so many good results this season. But we all have bad nights in the office. It was 12 with the first ride, 11 with the second ride there, 93.05 for Kristen van der Veen, who runs Prince of Peace.
Yeah, maybe she felt something she didn't like. you know, it's easy sitting here in the chair and watching on the live stream to comment on what happens, but as a rider, you know, every now and again maybe you feel something, or they jumped up a little bit, or you just, you know, felt like it wasn't going to work out and just needed to take that second.
But this is the easiest place to ride, Mavis. Absolutely the easiest place to ride.
Yes, I love
Sitting
this
up
chair.
here.
It's very comfortable and padded. It's quite easy.
Sarah Segal next in. Kamira represents the USA. Jennifer asks, do horses ever spook at the big screen? And I think they do when they're on the side of the arena, but actually, although you can see the big board there, when you're in the ring, it's actually very hard to see that board. You have to really kind of crink your neck.
Yeah, I think, you know, if they're sort of at the end of the ring in their line of sight, I think it's definitely a lot spookier. But when it's high up like this, they don't seem nearly as bothered by it. Although I have known a few that have had quite serious issues with the screens, and one of my friends went so far at indoors a couple years ago to put a TV in their horse's stall, obviously out of the way so it was in a safe place, but just to sort of familiarize them with it. And it went out and won the class the next week, so clearly things like that work sometimes.
Any idea what show he was watching?
I think she had Animal Planet on a loop. Discovery, something on Discovery.
We'll never know whether you just make things up or not.
True story. I'm sure there are people that are listening that know exactly who I'm talking about. I will not name names, but it did work.
Well, another one just having that.
Single fence down. This horse has a bit of an interesting style. You can see it twists a bit over the fences, but Sarah does a really good job managing that. Doesn't seem bothered by it. The horse doesn't either.
Well, we've seen a few on 4 faults tonight. She's the second fastest of the 4s, so that's going to take her into 9th place, into 9th at the moment.
Ms. Jules asks, can the riders change the horse that they ride in the World Cup class? Yes. The first horse, if you are riding 2 in the class tonight, is the horse that you designate, and that score is what will count to qualify you for Saturday. But the horse you show Saturday just has to have completed 1 FEI class during the week. It doesn't necessarily have to be this one. So I believe Cassio Rivetti showed a horse yesterday that will probably be his horse he shows Saturday that is not jumping the class tonight. Don't hold me to that, though.
Well, here's a young rider who's actually having a very busy week. This is Jen Gates in Dolan. She's just started medical school relatively recently. I know she's got a big exam tomorrow, so she's going to be cramming in between trying to ride in this competition tonight. This is Dolan. Jen Gates represents the USA. And good on her for trying to juggle medical school with also riding at the top level.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it just goes to show that you really, if you put your mind to it, you can, you know, make it work. And there's a lot of top riders who didn't necessarily prioritize their riding above going to school. You know, Lily Keenan being one, Karen Poley being one. You know, they would fly back and forth and come down and jump and then, you know, head back up for class. So I think it's definitely something that you can make work.
Whoa.
It's too bad. I think she just got a little on the inside track there, and you know, it's already a sharp turn to begin with.
Just finding her way around there. Wants to organise that canter. Looking forward.
Mare gave a great effort that time. I don't think she was trying to be bad or anything. I think she genuinely, it was just a bit of a bad angle and she didn't get her eye on it.
Nice job down there. So you're just making some minor adjustments coming down towards that double.
Yeah, she's really taking her time there and setting her up. You know, the double of verticals is always a bit of a bogey jump, and that mare jumped it really, really well. Just giving a super effort here.
Of course, those refusals are costly because although you get 4 faults for the refusal, it really slows things down, and time allowed part of the test. So you can see those time faults really starting to creep up.
That was a shame. That mare jumped a lovely round otherwise. I think Jen will be disappointed with that.
Yeah.
But If she does end up making it in, I don't think she'll have any worries going into Saturday.
The only positive thing she can think about, though, is there's nothing she needs to go out and work on or change. It was just a case of, it was a tight turn, slightly tight, and horse didn't get its eye on it.
Yeah, you can see here, she just really got on the inside track. And
so no change then. Nicola Hine Russ leads 64.61 to beat Abigail McCardle in second. She's on 64.84, and then Karl Cook in third, 65.81. And a quick reminder, if you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, do hit that share button, get involved with the conversation as well. If there's any questions you want to ask, you can do that. Let us know where you're watching. Let us know what time it is as well. It's 8:30 in the evening here in Las Vegas. And if you have just joined us, I'm Adam Cromerty, Mavis Spencer sitting alongside me, and you can follow us on Instagram because we're going to be posting lots of cool stuff, if you remember, from backstage here in Vegas. You're so much better at remembering than I am. This is Delaney Flynn on track now at Carlos BH.
yeah, Delaney was actually out here, grew up out here on the West Coast and recently moved back east. And I believe sort of towards the end of the summer, maybe started the summer actually, started working with Norman Della Gioia and Wembley Farms. And this is a horse of a client of theirs, Ken Dickey, who will be jumping later in this class that he's given her to ride. And they've really created a solid partnership together rather quickly. Jumped some great rounds in Del Mar with a time fault, but I think she's really figuring this horse out and is a young rider herself. I think she's actually one of our youngest riders in this class. Yeah, she's only 19.
She's got to work really hard there. She used her upper body around the corner to perfectly just balance that canter.
Yeah, that was too bad. That was a really nice round. She just got caught out with the time there at the end. I can imagine Norman will have a few things to say to her about that, but the horse jumped really well, and for a new partnership, I think they'll be really happy with that.
And she heads into 13th place. A few name checks and time checks as well. We asked, what time is it where you are watching tonight? We've got Michelle. It's 11:30 in New York, 10:30 in Wisconsin, 3:35 p.m. in Australia. But is that today or tomorrow? It's so confusing. 11:30 in Ohio, same in Los Angeles, 6:35 in New Zealand, 5:30 a.m. in France, 3:36 p.m. in Portland, Victoria.
Yeah, we have a lot of people
Michigan.
from Australia watching. For Jessica Rice Ward, who asked any Aussies coming out, Harley Brown,
I think that's it, isn't it?
I think is the only one. He goes 51st in the order with his first horse, so
There's
Aussie.
two from New Zealand, but you have to say it's not the same because they get. It's like saying Scotland and England.
Trouble.
Yeah, big trouble. Speaking of the UK, though, kind of. I don't know if he's north or south, but anyway, here's Greg Broderick.
Oh, that's another one that will get you into real trouble. You better hope he doesn't run into you later. Yeah, Greg competed at Rio with an amazing horse, Junior. Ooh, now of course I can't think of its show name. That ended up getting sold shortly after that. Ireland had unfortunately only qualified an individual rider, which luckily this year in Barcelona, the boys won the gold, putting them in qualification for Rio. But this horse and Greg have been together for a couple of months now, and they actually won the Grand Prix in Spain, the 5-star together. He was placed in the Grand Prix out in Thermal. It's a very, very good horse, owned by his client Carrie, who also will be competing in this class later.
Where about Spain was that?
Guion?
I've just seen if you know how to pronounce it. Some people really struggle, but I've forgotten how well educated you were, Mavis, and how great you were.
I have to say, when I was working in Europe, that was one show I didn't get to go to, and I was a bit bummed about that because I've heard really great things about it. But again, it's a lovely big grass field to ride in.
Finishes on 8 today, 62.04 there for Greg Broderick.
It's Friday in Australia. See, there you go.
How crazy is that? You're like going back in time to listen. Kind of. Carol asks what New Zealanders are riding. We've got Uma O'Neill. Who else is from New Zealand?
Guy Thomas, I believe, still rides for New Zealand. I don't think he's changed his
Yeah, he went earlier, didn't
citizenship.
he?
Yes, he went earlier. And I think it's just those two here.
Well, this next one's for Canada. This is Vanessa Mannix, Katinka. She trains with Connor Swale, who this morning were both out on the golf course.
Yes, I did see that, an Instagram story about that. They are both avid golfers. I think Vanessa has said in interviews before that if Connor wasn't a show jumper, he would definitely be a professional golf player. But again, that's the nice thing about this Vegas show. You know, they have a really great team. James Chalk is out here with them as well. And, you know, this is the first class that they'll be jumping today, so they had quite a bit of time and were able to go and play 18 holes. I think that's what they say.
I think that's what they do.
I don't golf,
golfers.
so
No.
I leave that to my brother and, you know, the likes of Connor Swale.
Well, she represents Canada, and someone's just got in touch. Mary, she's in Canada, in Halifax, and it's 12:30 at night there.
Oh, this mare is, I mean, I try not to say if I had to pick a horse that I'd want to ride, because I'm one of those people that would kind of want to ride all of them who wouldn't. But this mare is so lovely. She's so light. She's so quick. She's so catty. And her and Vanessa really have a great partnership. She's very consistent.
Oh,
Consistent.
that was a little rub there, but stays up. And she will be happy with that.
A lovely round.
Into third she goes, Vanessa Mannix. 65-1-1, Vanessa Mannix clear. Top three changes. And Philip Smythe says, Mavis, you as da bomb.
Da bomb. Oh,
He's down with the kids.
thank you, Philip.
Whatever
And
that
I
means.
was just corrected, thanks to my friend Jonathan Corrigan, that Greg's Olympic horse was called Going Global.
There you
So
go.
for anyone who was trying to figure out who Junior is known in the barn as Junior, and his show name is MHS Going Global.
So glad Jonathan's there.
Thank God for Jonathan.
Yeah. Ali Leopold, Valentino du Soleil, next to come forward. Michael says, any competitors from Maryland? Well, due to the fact we're not an A to Z, but no idea. Do you have anyone from Maryland?
That is really testing my knowledge. I will let you know before the end of the class if you're still awake in Maryland.
One of our colleagues, Oliver Kennedy, who you were cheating on with me earlier, you were commentating with him rather than me. He's from Maryland, if that's
And
any
whose
use.
fault was that?
Yeah, I know. I had better things to do. Ali's doing a great job at the moment. You can see her just making those tiny corrections. That was lucky there.
She loves this horse. They've really gotten to know each other and created a solid partnership. You know, she trusts him, he trusts her, and you can see he's sort of like a little bouncy ball. He's very compact, very chunky.
It's a chunky monkey. Alicia Russell says, yay Canada. That was after watching Vanessa ride, no doubt.
I know, it's nice. We've got quite an international field here. Wow. It was a great jump there.
She deserves to go clear. I mean,
Shh, don't jinx her.
sorry.
She's really going to come after us now
She
if you
is.
jinx her too.
She deserves it. She's going to have to watch this one though. Go on, get up there.
Oh.
And then wait. Oh no, she's pushing.
Oh. Almost
That's
lost her. Oh.
That's okay
So
though.
happy with that though. I think
Yeah.
she had a bit too much airtime to make the time allowed.
71-79. So heads into six, just behind those 5 clears. But that was a real team effort from her and the horse. You know, she really helped it out at times. As you say, just kind of hangs in the air a little bit. It's a little bit sticky off the ground. But she should be really happy with that.
Yeah, having a horse like that though that's super adjustable and you have so many options is really important in a ring like this. You know, she's able to make little changes, and he just sort of does what she asks, and then gives her a huge effort at those jumps. Do we know Katinka's bloodlines? Katinka is Katoki Luxano. She's a 10-year-old Oldenburg mare for Hope.
Viggo Borkland comes next. Carlson.
Connie. Jennifer asks, are the blinker on the horse's bridle? I believe so, yes. There's a number of different companies that make those blinkers. Walsh and Dion off the top of my head. But yeah, it just helps the horses focus in a little bit, especially in rings like this where everything's coming up quick and there's a lot of things going on, and especially I find in the warm-ups as well, it's very helpful.
And they have to be 3 centimeters or less.
Yes, you'll see some riders who like to wrap them. Cian O'Connor, a lot of his tack has, they'll use cotton underneath and vet wrap over it just to keep them in place. But I think, you see some riders that use it on all their horses and some riders that only use it on a few that need it. So it's sort of a preference.
Someone asking how many classes there are at the horse show. You can find that out if you go to longinetiming.com. You'll see all the start lists. You can get live results there as well.
Vigo's trying to doing just a nice round here after he's had one down now. Horse jumped that bogey fence. It seems like they're jumping that dice oxer better than they were at the start of the class, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just that the riders are taking a bit more time there, or the horses are just, they're riding it a bit better. It's actually not that wide. It's a bit of a narrow oxer compared to the one at the end of the ring, where I think they're quite having to stretch. Again, with the pinstripe rails like we talked about, I think it's just sort of a different evil there at that fence. Do I like the inside turn from 1 to 2? I personally am not that brave, Charlie. I would not do that inside turn. But then again, I'm also sitting in a chair watching the class.
So yes, we definitely do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
From up here, it's very doable.
I would guess that the winner might do it, but again, at fence 1, it's really quite short. Even when you walk it, some people were looking at it, and it didn't really look that appealing. And I think once you get in and look at a horse, I imagine it's quite a short turn. And again, the risk might not would outweigh the reward, I think is how you put that.
That was very well put. Peter Lutz now. He was in earlier, just had 4 faults with his first horse, now back with one called Excellent. Maddie's asking, have we ever been to the Georgia International Horse Park? It's where they held the Olympics in '96. I've never been there. Have you been there?
I haven't actually, but I have seen lots of videos from there, and I did see that there is a horse show was there, I think last week as well as this week, so good luck, Maddie, in the Olympic ring tomorrow. And for Jessica, I believe the youngest you can be to compete in these classes is 17.
Yep.
But I think actually our youngest rider tonight, without pulling it up, I would guess is probably one of Harley Brown's clients.
19?
Well, Delaney is 19, and then I think Alex Volpe, and she may be a little bit older, but Emma Richow, I think, is only 18. So I believe she would be the youngest in our class.
Well, Peter Lutz on such a 4-fault-itis tonight, 4 with the first toss, 4 with the second, but with the second horse, he's the fastest 4-fault round, so heads into 10th place, 62-1-8.
4 faults for Peter Lutz, and the horse that goes by the name Excellent.
Standing by, just about to get underway, is Alessandra Bellopi and Foster. California Jumper says, Mavis, me and my sister have been following you, probably not in a stalkerish way though, for years, and we're wondering if there's any advice you have for riders that are nervous or have anxiety on course.
Well, I've always been someone that gets very nervous. I know that people say, obviously the more you do it, the easier it gets. But I think at the end of the day, nerves are actually a positive thing. I think it means that you want to do well and that you're obviously worried about the results, but I think learning how to channel it into a positive energy. For me, it was finding a routine that settled me into the class. So if it meant, walking the course twice or maybe sitting by myself before the class, I was always a big fan, and I know a couple of other people that do this, that I would watch videos of rounds that I thought were really good, where I rode well, just to sort of remind myself what I did, remember the feeling that I had, things that work for certain horses. So I think, learning how to channel that nervous energy or finding the positives in it and then finding a routine that helps you settle and be able to focus in is something that I found helped me greatly. So I hope that helps you.
Were your nerves the same no matter what height the jumps were, or was it?
Anything above a 140. Like once I hit 145, it could be, maybe training classes less so. But for the most part, riding so many dealing horses and things like that, someone's always watching, you're trying to sell the horse, so you really want to get the best out of them. So I think that was something that once I hit 145, I definitely was short of breath going in and coming out.
Well, Alessandra Bellopi does a great job out there tonight. 66.15, that's going to take her into 5th place, and I think she's a relatively young rider as well.
Yeah, I think and that's also a fairly young horse. I mean, it's 11 years old, but for her to have moved up this level, she trains with Harley Brown, and again, Harley is someone who has really done a great job producing these young riders. I think he's got another girl in Emma Reachow in this class. He does a great job putting them on horses, getting them up to this level. They always have a lot of clients at the shows, so him and his wife Olivia do a really, really fantastic job.
Well, Plenty Nations represented here. Matthias Schwenker comes forward next, NKH Caruso.
He actually is also a very young rider. I think he's 24?
26.
26?
We're all getting old, Mavis. We're all getting old.
Err on the side of younger rather than older. I'm not sure at what point that changes when you're no longer flattered that people think you're very young. But he is a fantastic rider. He actually came over last fall. He rides for Christian Heineken, and he had a bad fall and broke his leg. So Mattis came over and started riding a couple of the horses and did such a great job that even though Christian's riding again now, they have still, given him a bunch of horses, and he's had a huge amount of success and just does a really, really lovely job.
Yeah, Christian won the World Cup here in 2016 with this horse.
Yeah, this one I think is a little bit older. He's actually 15. And again, he's very, very competitive. He's quite quick here.
Yeah. Super job. Great round. 61.11. Straight to the top. Over 3 seconds faster.
Yeah. I mean, again, you watch that round, and it didn't look like he was very fast everywhere. But if you note his track, he was well inside. He took a lot of risks. He turned inside back to that Liverpool. And it was very smooth and very well done. I think that's the key to riding in these small indoor rings. You can't obviously get a lot of speed up, so I think thinking about things like track and your turns is very, very important.
Reese Jumper Pony says, who's commentating? Absolutely love this. Well, I'm Adam Cromarty, Mavis Spencer alongside me. And she loves us, Mavis. That's nice, isn't it? Because normally people hate us, so we're happy.
Well, I feel like when you're doing things like this, you're sort of trying not to give your opinion too much about things. And it's definitely easy to...
Which is tough for you.
...piss some people off. I'm actually very good at not giving my opinion after years of being in this industry. It takes more for me to actually give it, as most of my friends know.
Andrew Ramsey on track.
Jonathan Corrigan can tell you that for a fact. It's very hard to get my opinion out of me.
This is a cool horse, and this is one that Andrew knows really well.
Yeah, and he's very quick. These classes are definitely his forte. Andrew grew up riding out here on the West Coast. He had a fantastic mare named Lisa that I remember watching growing up and just being such a huge fan of Andrew and his riding. He's so classic in his style, and now he works alongside Chris Kapler, and they've been doing very, very well together. I think he took a couple of years off from riding and then got back started in Europe and moved back to the States and is now partnered with Chris.
Someone asking if the horses have to be shod to compete in these competitions.
I don't know anyone who doesn't have their horses shod. Oh, it's too bad. I actually do know a couple of people, even in the class last night, that will stud their horses up, with the footing, especially when you're trying to go fast. I would say less so in this arena because the footing is very good, but I would say you'll see some people that will put the studs in for the jump off just because it gives you that bit of extra traction. I know when I was grooming, a lot of times for those 145 speed classes in Wellington, we would all put studs in, and it just gives you that little bit more of support, when you're trying to go fast. And, it's a matter of seconds and inches, so anything that helps you from slipping and saves time and saves you from having the rail is obviously really important when you're jumping important classes like this and spending a lot of money to do it. So.
And that was a real heartbreak for Andrew because he was faster than Matthias Schwenker, who we just saw take the lead, but then had that rail. So he's the fastest to the 4 fault rounds, and it's going to take him down into 12th place at the moment. Maddie Barnes is saying, Mavis, I'm such a big fan. Thanks for answering my question. And she's having a total fangirl moment that you just said her name. Say it again, Mavis.
Well, Maddie Barnes, I wish you the best of luck in the meter 10 at your next show. I will be starting in the .90s at my next show. I walked the class this evening and thought it looked Olympic, so I think it's going to take me a bit of time to even get back to the meter 10s.
Well, we've already seen some great rounds. Nicola Hine Russ was leading the way for such a long time. He's just been pushed down into 2nd place. So I think Katie Stazak actually has him down there. Well, I think Katie's actually just getting organised with him. So once again, if you have just joined us, you can get involved in the conversation on Facebook or YouTube. Charmich says, Adam and Mavis, thank you so much for being vested in answering all these questions. It makes for watching these events much more enjoyable, hearing all the information. Well, we're here for you, Char. We're here for everyone that's watching online, so it's really helpful for us as well. If you get involved, ask as many questions as you want. If there's anything you want to say, any good luck messages for these riders. But I really like this being interactive. I'm sure you're the same, Mavis.
Yeah, you know, I always find when I'm watching the live stream that I want to actually be able to watch the horse and rider go, and I want to comment less on what they're doing. So I think, you know, if you guys are enjoying us answering your questions, keep asking away, and we're more than happy to, you know, make that more of an interactive sort of class versus us just commenting on what's going on around.
Well, let's throw it down then to Katie Stazak. She's with Nicola Hine Russ, who's just been pushed into 2nd.
Mark, Nicola Hine Russ was holding on to the lead for quite a while there. An exceptional round with the 9-year-old Cadillac. Nicola, this is a smaller indoor ring. You had the horse at Del Mar, but definitely a different experience here. It seems like he's handled the atmosphere very well.
That we don't do anything stupid.
This is a horse with a lot of ability, and it seems like this has really been a breakout year for him. You haven't been riding him all too long. Take me through his development a little bit.
Well, we started in the beginning of February. I started riding him then, and then at home in Spruce we had some small indoor shows. So my first class with him was a meter 20 in February, and then we've moved up a bit since then.
What an incredible progression, and still so much more to come, I am sure. Safely qualified for Saturday night. Best of luck the rest of the week.
Thank you so much.
Back to you guys.
Hine Russ as well. Katie Stazak down with him at the gate. Sorry for any little audio issues towards the beginning of that interview, but always great to hear from our athletes and know exactly what they felt of their rides. And as we mentioned earlier, great to hear from you guys as well. If you're watching, you can get involved on Facebook, get involved on YouTube as well. And remember to hit that share button as well. Let all your friends know that they can watch. Maria says, awesome commentary, guys. Shout out to the Royal this week, and we had some athletes there, and it was nice to see Eric Lamaze back riding at that event. He hadn't been for a few years, and I got to do something on stage with him, and he was so open and so candid. And he's going to be on one of the future episodes of my podcast, which is called Under the Saddle. And you see how I just did a little plug there?
Well,
that was smooth,
considering
wasn't
you're
it?
doing a shameless bit of self-promotion.
What would you like to promote, Mavis?
Yeah. Well, for those wondering what I've been doing for the past year since I haven't been riding, I actually helped launch a new equine sales platform, which is called The Equine Platform. Groundbreaking, I know. And we have over 50 horses here for sale at the show. We do a lot of our business around horse shows. A lot of our clients are actually here watching tonight and competing in this class. So if you see anything you like in any of the classes throughout the week, or if you're looking for horses, please don't hesitate to reach out. slide into my DMs or follow us on Instagram at the Equine Platform, and we would be more than happy to help you find your next unicorn.
You can also follow Mavis on Instagram at Mavis Spencer, or follow me on Instagram at Adam Cromarty. Is there anything else you would like to promote, Mavis, while we're at it here?
Nope,
Anything
I'm just
else?
fair warning everyone, my Instagram has pretty much been taken over by my new. There is lots going on, and obviously a lot of my long-haired dachshund midget, because dachshunds are the best. So shameless plug for colored horses and wiener dogs.
Well, shameless plug's almost over. About another 30-35 combinations waiting to come forward. Quick recap of how things look at this stage as well. 61-11 leads. That's Matthias Schwenker. He's up on top. Nicola Hine Russ, we just heard from him, sits in second, 64-6-1. Abigail McCardle in third on 64-8-4. And this is a one-round competition. It's directly against the clock. Some of the field being very competitive, others just trying to qualify for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup, which takes place here this Saturday. If you want to watch the World Cup here, you have to watch it on FEI TV. But there's plenty of sport to enjoy throughout the event here, both on the USEF network, and then for these kind of bigger FEI competitions, you can watch them on Facebook or on YouTube or on FEI TV. So plenty of options, plenty of ways to get involved and to watch as well. But we've got some quick ones coming towards the end. Keep the questions coming in as well. Great to have you with us, and we've got about another half to come.
Hope's Horse Edit says, how long does it take to design the courses? That is an excellent question. I don't want to answer that because I don't actually know the answer, but Leopoldo has been wandering around here watching and overseeing, so we will try and grab him and get you an answer to that from the man himself. And Daniela Morales, any tips for me? I fell off a couple months ago and had a severe injury. Got back riding 2 weeks ago and I had my first show Saturday. I'm nervous and scared. I broke my back last year and I am still waiting to go to my first horse show, but I would just say that, you know, it's one of those things that bad things happen and you can't really help it, and don't be afraid. You know, your horse probably didn't mean it. And if you feel strong and you're ready to go, you are more than capable of doing it. So Daniela Morales, I have all of the faith in you that you will have a great time at your first horse show back on Saturday.
Skylar Riley gets us back underway, represents the USA, Quilimbo. And I saw Skylar earlier, and I was chatting to her while she was in a massage chair. They've got these massage chairs here.
This is the second or third time you've mentioned this massage chair, and I'm not going to lie, it's still making me as uncomfortable as it was the first time you mentioned it.
Well, do you want to know what? It was because I was in one as well. That's why I was there. So I was chatting to a few riders while we were over there. Have you tried them yet?
I mean, I have not tried them. I think, you know, as athletes, people sort of take for granted how hard we are in our bodies and how much we have to take care of them. You know, people always say you really should be as fit as your horse, so any sort of physical therapies, so to speak, and maintenance, I am a firm believer in. I just find sitting in a public massage chair at a horse show slightly uncomfortable, so you probably won't catch me in one.
Well, I'm going to work on that. She just has that early rail here tonight, so sits on the 4 faults.
Yeah, that was too bad. This is a horse that I believe Skylar only started riding at the start of this year. He is a Quidam de Revel stallion, 10 years old, owned by the E2 show jumpers. And you can see he's a very big, scopy horse, very careful as well. That was just a shame about that first early rail there.
The only slight advantage in these competitions, if you have an early rail, you can try and be the fastest 4 fault round by, you know, just going that little bit faster. 66.55. That's not one of the fastest for her, so it wasn't her plan tonight. She's the steadiest to the 4 fault round, so it takes her down into 19th place, but still in with a shot of qualifying for that World Cup that takes place here on Saturday.
Reese asked if I worked for Neil Jones. Yes, I worked for Neil for almost 4 years. I originally started as a groom for Lorenzo De Luca and then started showing again myself. Neil is the reason I ended up where I am today, and I will forever be... You're going to get me in trouble. Will forever be grateful for him. Actually, the last time I competed at Vegas was with all of his horses, and we had a lot of success together, and it was a lot of fun. So, yes, I did ride for Neil.
We were talking about young riders earlier, and I think this is the youngest. It's Semerico on track. Fiveralve represents the USA here.
Yeah, this is a horse that she actually took to the North American Young Riders in Old Salem earlier this summer, and I believe she finished on the podium. I think I have it written down somewhere. She also is a client of Harley and Olivia Brown's, and you know, again, she's one that they've been helping for a while now, and she's really moved up the ranks and has become very, very competitive and comfortable at this level. I think this is the first year, I could be wrong, but I think this is the first year that she's eligible to actually jump the World Cup classes, and you know, I think it's a testament to Harley's program that they've come out and just been so strong competing in these classes and really look like they belong here. That was too bad. Shout out to all of the dog parents out there who are commenting.
Finishes on
You clearly don't have a dog. You don't understand. I'm that crazy person that'll be sitting at dinner that loves to whip out pictures of my pup. I'm sure everyone can relate that has one. So you're the odd man out in this, Adam.
I had one. It died last week.
Liar. Not that I'm saying, I mean, I would feel horribly if I thought that was true, but I know it's not. So.
Emma finishes on a 68.24. We actually used to have 2 dogs, but because I'm away so much, it just doesn't work. But I kind of miss it. I didn't give them away; they did die of natural causes.
Like, horrible.
I didn't just throw them away.
This is taking a strange turn away from cute, adorable, fluffy dogs.
Let's get it back to show jumping, because here comes Carrie Roofer, Georgie Dowvery. But this will be her top horse. She's done so much with this over the years. She's just behind that clock. There she is. She's got a nice string at the moment. I know she's potentially just about to get another one as well.
Ooh, secrets. Yeah, this is a horse Carrie's been partnered with for, I think, nearly 3 years, maybe a bit longer actually. And they've had a huge amount of success together from the high amateur division all the way up through obviously this level. They've won a lot. George, she calls him the Hippo. The Hippo. So that isn't me throwing this out there. She actually calls him that. And they have, you know, a great partnership. You can see he's very playful, and sometimes it gets her into a little bit of trouble, but I think she's quite learned how to just sort of ignore his antics and, you know, make the most of it.
And she's got a yard full of boys. She only has geldings or stallions.
Oh, that was too bad. George.
She's going to be gutted about that.
Yeah, I don't think she'll be really thrilled with that. Oh boy, lots of questions. Okay, we will play catch up in a minute.
Are we being too focused on what's going on in the ring, Mavis?
I think so. Odd-looking Zambonis. I agree completely. Can horses perceive the color white? I'd seen where a herd of cows jumped over the white center line when crossing a road.
Well, horses' eyes are completely different from human eyes or cows' eyes. That was 8 faults, by the way, for Carrie, for anyone that's not interested in the cows crossing the road. 66.18. But horses have actually got a separate lens that we don't have that cover the eyes, so they see completely differently than us. And I mean, a lot of people say they see in contrast, which isn't strictly scientifically true, but it's the best and easiest way to sort of explain it. But yeah, yellow and white they can see. They can definitely see.
And then Hope asked, what's your best tip to get to this level of horse riding? Because I would love to be able to compete at events like this. Well, Hope, I don't know what level you compete at now, but the great thing about this horse show and many horse shows is that, you know, we have obviously all levels of people competing here. So there will be a lead line class on Saturday night before the Grand Prix. You have 2-foot hunters all the way up through, obviously, this, 4-star World Cup level, and lots of classes in between. You have equitation, you have hunters, you have lower level jumpers. So if you want to, compete at these shows, I think there's a lot of opportunity. And as far as getting to this level, hard work and lots of patience. Lots of patience.
Lots of patience. Sarah Shearing next, Audi's Dimple for the USA. She's a rider that's been to the World Cup finals before.
Yeah, this is a gosh, how old is Dimple's? Only 11. But speaking of Jonathan Corrigan, who's come up several times this evening,
is there anything you want to tell us about Jonathan? You seem to talk about him a lot, Mavis.
We do a lot. We've been friends for a very long time, and I'm hoping, hint, hint, since I'm saying in the live stream it could be true, he really should propose to his girlfriend soon. Just saying. But he showed this horse this summer in Spruce Meadows and had a lot of success. But again, this is a big horse, and moving into a small indoor like this can be difficult. Obviously, the first 2 jumps not proving to be an issue so far. She actually is another one that's showing in a Hackamore. But Sarah hasn't been riding him for that long. I think this is only maybe her 3rd or 4th show with him. But he's very scopy, very rangy, good jumper.
I know with her last horse, she used to, when she was just, oh, go on, get up. She used to ride it in just a bit in a pair of reins when she was, just kind of hacking it around.
Yeah, I remember the first time she actually came out to Vegas, I believe it was 2 years ago, with Dantes, the horse that you're referring to, who she actually took to World Cup finals, and then ended up selling him to another rider to take to the Pan Am Games this year. But she would ride him in one of those rope bits, so watching them go around it, it looked like he was basically being completely left to his own devices, which according to her was something that made him happy, and so she went along with it. I think it's always nice when you find riders who figure out, what works for their horse, go with it.
Well, a bit of disappointment there for her tonight, but I think that's going to be an exciting one for the future there. Sarah Shearing, Audie's Dimple. She jumps down in Mexico occasionally as well. I saw her in Guadalajara. I went out for dinner with her dad, and I have to say her dad is one of the most interesting men I've ever met. Fun fact.
Oh, I can't say I've met him before, but I mean, if you think he's interesting, he must be.
Exactly. He's even more interesting than you. He actually lost a shoe coming over that fence as well. Over fence 9. You can see it just lying there behind it.
Yeah, hopefully they have... Oh, it looks like they have picked that up. That would not be fun to land on.
Ashley Bond, what an exciting year it's been for her. She's just been building and building and building with that string. And she is next, Bohème de Fleurs. She's got some great young horses actually at the moment.
Yeah, speaking of young horses, this one's actually only 8 years old. She got her more towards the middle of the summer, and the mare had already competed in some 5-star 145 classes, but jumped her first Grand Prix last week in Thermal in the World Cup qualifier and only had a fence down. Ashley's really excited about her future. She's got another... that oxer is really just catching them out there. You can see this mare jumps in a fabulous technique.
And all of Ashley's horses tend to go this way with that kind of real forward canter.
Yeah, and she's another one that, carries a lot of pace all the time and really trusts her eye. I mean, she's got a great eye, but really just works off her eye. I was sort of with her for a little bit walking the course today, and she doesn't walk a lot of the longer lines. She sort of just allows them to travel and then measures where she is.
Connie Mosley says, are all the arenas indoors at Vegas? Connie, everything is indoors. I went out for the first time in about 3 days earlier. I felt like Dracula going outside, but the hotel we stay in is literally part of this arena, and it's got like 12 restaurants, bowling alley, bingo, lots of bars, big casino, everything's all under one roof here. So yeah, everything is indoors, even the stables. 8 faults there for Ashley tonight, 62.71. And you used to be able to get room service to your stable, didn't you? Can you still do that?
You could when I was showing here, and I'm not sure if they still do that anymore, but this is definitely a very equestrian-friendly venue. They have a lot of Western shows. I believe once we leave here, a ton of cattle come in. I think the PBR finals were here as well, so they're definitely very equestrian-equipped and friendly.
Here's a rider who's already had a win
Adam,
this
that's
week.
rude. Miss Jules. Thank you, Miss Jules, calling me out like that with one of my friends. Good thing his girlfriend is asleep with you.
And I think it was when I said that
Suggestive
Sarah's dad
comments
was
like
more
that.
interesting than you, I think. I think that it could be so many things, let's be
Yeah,
honest.
you're just rude. I concur, Miss
Not
Jules.
true,
I concur.
it's not true. Caitlin Campbell's next. She's already had a win this week. She represents the USA. And this is a real nice horse. I like this one.
Yeah, I believe she actually won the opening FEI class yesterday. This is a horse that she, again, got earlier this summer that was actually campaigned in Wellington by Shane Sweetnam. Caitlin, again, rides a lot of different types of horses. She's got a big sales business with her partner, Alex Wilson. And, yeah, this horse is 10, but again, you know, they're sort of building their partnership and have actually had a lot of success. I believe she was placed in some of the Grand Prix in Santa Fe, and you know, it's rare for Caitlin. She's such a competitor. It's rare for her to walk away from a show without winning at least one class.
Whoa. That was close. She almost caught the wing with her knee.
Good thing she's little, man.
Exactly.
Could have been a lot worse. Piper asked, is it air conditioned in the stables and arena? Yes, it is temperature regulated.
Everything is.
This is the first year, though, that I've noticed it's been quite warm. Normally you come here and it's very, very cold, and they tend to keep the doors closed. Well, they try and leave them open just for the airflow. But this year it's actually been quite warm, the weather-wise, which has been quite pleasant.
Yes, all the way. Look at that time.
I think she's got it. Look at that.
By 1/100th of a second.
1/100th of a second. Good for Caitlin.
Can't get any closer than that, literally. Caitlin Campbell straight up to the top after that win yesterday. She now leads, pushes Matthias Schwenker down into second, Nicola Hine Russ into third. And some real clash riding down there.
With that, yeah. And you can see Caitlin isn't very big, but she really uses everything she has. Paulina's quite a big mare, and she really did a good job keeping her together and staying out of her way and getting everything done.
Simone says, what height are they jumping? Tonight it's 1.50 m, and then it'll be up to 1.60 m when we get forward towards the World Cup on Saturday.
This is actually Vanessa Mannix.
Yes, not Erin. Vanessa Mannix already been forward with one horse. She sits 5th, and she now comes back with Valentino. With some good placings already this year with this horse. And it's been a successful season actually for Vanessa.
Yeah, you know, again, she's been working a long time with Connor Swale and James Chalk as well, and they've got a really great team and a great system. This is another one that is, you know, light and careful and quick and very scopy, and Vanessa's just got such a nice style of riding, you know, very classic. She really helps them when she needs to, but stays out of their way, and horses really love her and jump really well for her. So he's got great style himself.
Hope says she would like to meet us someday, but she lives in Australia.
I was actually in Australia in 2009 for the Youth Olympics in Sydney, and I had such a great time, and I really want to go back, so maybe one day, hope.
And I've never been to Australia. It's one of the few countries I've never visited.
That's too bad. Well,
let's arrange it, Hope. Let's go on tour, Mavis. Come on, let's go.
That was a shame. She just tipped that back rail off the...
She's had some great finishes this year, and not a bad night here for her. Just finishes on the 4:66.44 the time there for Vanessa Mannix. Drops her down into 20th, but definitely in with a shot for qualifying. She's already sitting in not too bad a place with that first ride as well. But it is Caitlin Campbell that leads, Matthias Schwenker second, and Nicola Hine Russ sitting down in third. Jennifer says, why the unclipped patches behind the girth? Well, do you want to answer this, Mavis?
You seemed very enthusiastic about it, so I will not rain on your parade with that one.
So some of the riders wear spurs as a little additional aid just to help them out as they're going round. And because we clip our horses all year round now, their skin can become a little bit sensitive. And the FEI rules quite rightly say if there's any blood whatsoever when the horses come out the ring, then it's elimination. It used to be they were disqualified. That changed quite recently. You're now eliminated from the round where the blood is found. So they leave those little patches on just to give a little bit more protection, and some of them you'll see actually wearing belly bands, which is like a neoprene wrap that goes around the horse, and that's for the same thing as well, just to give a little bit more protection, because when the horses come out, they actually go through a boot check. So a team of stewards will look under the horse's boots, make sure everything is as it should be there, and also check for any sort of blood on the horse's side too. This is Erin Davis Heineken next. She's on track already with Leone representing the USA.
Yeah, this is another one that I just love this mare. She's so scopy and she's so clever, and her and Erin have a really great relationship. They jump a lot of clear rounds, and the mare always puts a great effort in.
Daniela Morales is saying, have you ever seen a Guatemalan rider compete at these events? There are Guatemalan riders that compete. I think we see quite a few at Spruce Meadows and stuff.
There's a lot. I actually was just pulling it up on FEI, and there are 403 Guatemalan riders that are registered with FEI. I'm ashamed to say, though, off the top of my head, I am not coming up with anyone that I have seen compete in these divisions.
I remember announcing the word Guatemala quite recently. I just can't remember what name came before it.
Yeah, having a bit of a block. Aaron's working on a
Go on.
really good clear round.
Super, 66.
Good night for Team October Hill.
57, so into 8th place for Aaron.
Around 66.57 seconds.
Jennifer said I gave her an excellent answer to her spur question. See that, Mavis? It was an excellent answer.
You don't need your ego stroked anymore.
Still some very quick ones to feature here. 61.10, time to beat.
We still have 30 horse rider combinations left for those of you asking where we are at in the class. Actually, not that anyone asked, I'm just letting you know. I have a question. If they wear a belly band, then isn't that just masking some of the pressure of the spur? Yes, but at the same time, you know, I think a lot of these riders train their horses to be very responsive off the leg, and you know, it's just one of those things that sometimes it happens. So having that extra level of protection, you know, is very important. There's been a lot of controversy involving people who have been disqualified. You know, as far as the blood rule goes.
Whoa, that was clever horse.
This is going to be the good boy. Wow. So yes, Piper, hopefully that answered your question. Caught up with her a little bit.
And I have to say, most times that I've seen any sort of blood, it tends to be when a horse kind of twists across the fence or
and just catches up. Yeah, I don't think anyone obviously is intending to make the horse bleed. So it's more just making sure that that doesn't happen.
And you have to remember as well, the riders we're watching here, on a whole, have such a well-balanced leg position as well. They can actually use their leg without using the spur, so they don't use it every time they use their leg.
Yes, and I know for me personally, I was, you know, taught when I was riding that we never use spurs at home in order to teach your horse how to be more off your leg, and then obviously if you needed it in the ring, you would put one on. But we always train without one at home.
Well, she's had some great results with this horse, and this is a horse we've seen her win World Cup qualifiers with in the past, and she's going to finish on 5 tonight, 70.87, puts her into 25th position. Emma O'Neill there representing New Zealand.
I think she'll be slightly disappointed with that, but he really gave a good effort, you know, at the fences before that, and I think it just caught up with her a little bit. Again, that's a wide oxer, and just caught the back rail.
Adam Prudhomme next in. Balatonu. Adam represents the USA these days.
Yeah, this pair, I haven't seen that much of him actually, because again, Adam's out from the East Coast. And although this pair was, I believe, second in the Grand Prix last week or third in the World Cup.
Yeah, it was top three.
Yeah.
Top three.
Safer thing to say.
And he's had some great horses over the years. He's helped train some nice riders as well.
Yeah, and I think he's also, you know, obviously his parents, Katie and Henri, are very successful equestrians themselves. And, you know, Adam's worked with them for a long time and has sort of his own offshoot in the sales business. It's too bad.
I think if we were to add up how many horses have at each fence down, that would be the one with the most.
I think I think, you know, they've been jumping the pinstripe red oxer towards the end a lot better, so I would definitely say that that's the one most of these riders are going to hope won't be set like that on Saturday night.
Someone else asking about, is there any barefoot horses in this? I wouldn't imagine so. We haven't done a check. We've not checked their feet on the way in, and it's not against the rules, but I think when you're jumping at this level, and you know, a lot of shows are outdoors and stuff, they really need the flexibility to use spurs, to use studs even. Or cork, do you call them corks here or studs?
Corks. I spend a lot of time in England, so I don't know.
You prefer?
Kind of depends who I'm
you prefer
speaking
studs.
with. Yeah. horse is...
Oh, little stumble on landing there, but just finishes on the 4, 68.87, takes him into 23rd. And normally we wouldn't focus on, you know, the ranking of 23rd, but of course they're all trying to qualify to get forward into the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup here. Daniela Morales says, very curious, sorry if it's too personal. Nothing's too personal to ask me, but she'll answer anything. But how did you come back to riding after your back injury? How long were you off the sport?
Well, my last show was mid-June of last summer. I started riding after 3 months. I was told to wait 4, but I did a series of like injections and treatments. I spent all fall doing physical therapy and sort of slowly started back into it. And then I got, you know, we sort of did 6-month checkups, and I was still getting regular injections. But I think the biggest thing after an injury like that is really taking the time to make sure it heals. You know, as us riders, we're all so tough and we work through so much. And I had a multitude of other things that sort of I had, you know, just been ignoring or working through, I suppose is a better way to put it. So I really took a lot of time to just make sure that everything was right. So hopefully I'll be back jumping. Maybe not this level per se, but showing in the spring.
There we go. Well, that answers your question, Daniela. If anyone else has got any questions, get in touch, hit that share button. Remember, you can get involved with the conversation. And this is Natalie Dean, well underway on track here, Duns Diamond, and she's clear so far.
Yeah, this is a really great pair. They actually won the gold medal at the Young Riders in North Salem this summer, and she was a part of the gold medal winning team for the European Young Riders not long ago in Opelbeek. I think she was one of very few double clear rounds, and they, you know, they're sort of stepping up to this level together and have really been, I mean, doing really well. It was a beautiful round.
Yeah, really happy. That big smile, I think, says it all. Huge pat as she crosses the finish line with one stirrup there and heads into 3rd place. She'll be over the moon with that.
Yeah, I was standing with her and her trainer, Alon Furter, who also sold her this horse. And they were going over their plan before. And, you know, Alon's never won, even though she might not have that much experience. He was really telling her that, you know, she should go for it and try and be competitive, because that's the only way you're going to learn and get the experience. And obviously all the work they've put in coming up until, like, leading up to this has really paid off.
Someone asking, do I ever have to ask the rider how to pronounce the horse's name? No, Jennifer, if we don't know, we say it fast with feeling and just kind of hope it's right.
Or if you're like me and don't actually know their show names, you just use their barn names, which tend to be much shorter and simpler.
We're giving away all the secrets here. Let's get Charlie Jane underway now. Tillamoon represents the USA. Reese Jumper Pony says, loves the smiles. I'll have seen that as well, actually, you know, when they cross the finish line and you see that kind of emotion.
Yeah, and you know, there's so much work that goes into this 70-odd seconds in the ring. So I think when you do have good results, it's really nice to see people appreciate it and that they're happy with it.
Oh.
This is a horse that Charlie's been riding for a while, and they actually won the Grand Prix the first week of their. I think he won both big classes, actually. And he said in an interview that he was going to give the mare the 2nd week off. He told her, I thought this was cute, that if she was good, she wouldn't have to jump the 2nd week. And obviously she went out and took his advice and won both classes, and here we are.
Yeah, he's a top athlete, and he's got some. Go on, get up there. Oh, that's a shame, because he'd got some cracking turns.
Yeah. Oh, that was too bad.
I think that. Oh no, he's just getting organised.
I think it looked like his stick maybe got caught up in his reins there.
Yeah, perhaps.
Charlie's very tall, but he does a good job still on this. I mean, she's not very big to begin with, but he does a really good job on this little horse. Deep there. That's too bad.
Yeah, and he could feel that coming a couple of strides out. You saw him trying to just sort things out. But in the end, it's going to be 16 there for Charlie Jane, 82-37.
Yeah, I think he'll be a little disappointed with that. He's already sitting 41st in the rankings. Although it does come, a lot of it comes down to as well how many double rides are in front of him. So even though he's sitting 41st right now, he might end up getting lucky that, you know, there are a couple double rides in front of him and he still ends up making it in. It looks like his saddle is slipping a bit forward there. Oh, Reese said the same thing. Saddle might have slipped forward.
There you go. Agrees with you.
At least I'm not the only one that has these notions.
Well, obviously this isn't Emerico. As per the graphic, it is in fact Rich Fellers. Rich had a win earlier on in the Markel with another of his wonderful horses. And it's great to see him with some new ones coming through as well. The horse he's got in this one though isn't a new. This is Rich Fellers for the USA.
Yeah, and Rich is coming off a fantastic win in the Markel Insurance Grand Prix earlier. So, you know, it's always nice coming into a class like this with that bit of extra confidence.
Eventer says, which line in the course do you think is the most difficult or the most technical? For me, it's this fence here that he's just jumped.
Well, I think it's that whole series, you know, really, even already when you jump 1, you have a short roll back to fence 2, fence 3 comes up very quick, fence 4 comes up quick, and this whole line, they've actually been jumping, you know, the skinny down to that Oxford at the end quite well, but it's all very connected, so you don't really have a second, and, you know, you've seen a lot of people that have come in that when one wheel sort of comes off, it makes it very difficult to sort of fix things in that series of jumps.
Yeah, everything just comes up so fast. There's no time to kind of have a think or catch your breath or organise the canter or anything like that. Colette says, has Flexible been retired?
Yes, I don't know the exact year, but I think he was still competing at the Grand Prix level until he was about 18, which is a testament to, you know, Rich and his management and the team he has behind him.
Yeah, I think he got up to his 20s and he was still at like Spruce Meadows doing derbies and stuff and looked amazing.
It's another one though that, like, you know, he just loved competing, Rich always said, and he wanted to be at the horse shows and doing it. So it just goes to show age is just a number, folks.
Some life advice there. 63 in 97 and just the 4 for Rich Fellers representing the USA. Piper Pixie was saying, go Richie. This is Matthias Schwenker. Now Matthias, it was leading for quite a while and is now in second place, but comes back with Leonardo. So I think he'll be quite hungry to get back up towards the top.
Yeah, you know, his first horse, this one is only 10, so it has a little bit less experience than the other one. But again, Matthias is such a strong competitor. You can see he's already getting his canter going here. Oh, for those asking, Flexible was retired at 21 in 2017, so there you go.
According to someone on YouTube.
There is a thing called Google, you know, I suppose we could have looked it up, but thank God for Cross Country Girl.
Nice bit of fact check in there. Oh, does that real? And Amy says, does anyone know how old Rich Fellers is? He's 60 now.
Oh, I have another person that texted me, Francie Steinwaddell. Flexi was still showing at 21.
There we go. Fact checked.
There
and it
you
was
go.
true.
Fact check. Thank you, Francie. She says we're doing a great job, even though we're not
Thanks,
fact
Francie.
checking.
A little rub there. Fastest 4-footer out of interest at the moment is 59.11.
Andrew
sits on
Ramsey and Stranger. He's had another fence down here now.
Oh, a little rub on the last. It stays up though. 68.65, couple down, finishes on 8 here.
And second ride for Matisse is aboard Leonardo. Brandon Mount for 8 Jackman falls just 2 fences down, 68.65.
Nice pat on the way out.
That puts him out of our top 12 written places. The rider still in second place aboard at Paige Caruso.
Venters watching in Australia. M's watching in Sydney. Lots of Australians. Must be because of the time difference, I think, because it's a bit of a strange time zone right here in the West Coast. It's 9:30 here. I know it's really late on the East Coast. This is Emma Ricau coming forward, back with a second ride. Youngest athlete in the field, and this is Apex.
Yeah, this is a 15-year-old that her trainer Harley Brown actually rode before selling it on to Emma. It was one of the first horses that she started jumping bigger classes with, and I think it's always nice to have a horse that has a lot of experience already when you're first stepping up. You know, they're a lot more forgiving, and they kind of can help you out of tough situations. You can see he got a little bit deep there, and he just sort of gets her out of it. So I think, you know, from a trainer's perspective and a learning experience, I think it's really, you know, important that the first horse your client gets when they're moving up is one that really knows their job and is going to help them out, you know, in those sticky situations.
Kelly Marie says, staying up past my bedtime to watch. So are we.
Yeah.
Our days of partying in Vegas are over, I think, Mavis.
I don't think they were ever really there, to be honest.
No, that's true.
Especially when you're competing, you know, the days are just so long. Again, the first class here starts at 7:30, and a lot of these riders and trainers are competing in other divisions or have other clients here, so the days get very long. That was a great round.
Yeah, she did a really nice job. She finishes on a single time fault, fastest of the two that are on one time fault. So she's going to head into 11th place at the moment. Thanks to everyone that's staying up past their bedtime to watch with us. Keep hitting that share button, keep getting involved with the conversation. A few people mentioning the fires in Australia as well. So of course our thoughts with anyone in Australia that is affected by those terrible fires that we're seeing on the news here. And someone asking, do the riders have to ride with spurs? They don't have to. Personal preference, depends on the horse, and it is completely optional. But great job there from Emma.
Yeah, she's gotten very consistent again at this level.
Carrie Ruffer back with a second ride. Mr. Europe. Really rooting for Carrie. She had a bit of an unlucky round with the first of her two.
And I know Carrie was saying back in Sacramento in the indoor, this horse was having a little bit of trouble indoors under the lights. But I mean, so far this week he's been great. So Carrie's a very competitive rider as well. And he doesn't look like, I don't want to jinx her, but he's jumping a super round so far. Sorry, Carrie.
Whoa.
Got him back really well there.
Yeah, she was really reactive. Don't want to focus too much on time zones tonight, but Katrine's now watched in Denmark and it's 6:35 in the morning there, so there's some people staying up because it's past their bedtime, the other people waking up because it's morning. Everyone's watching. We've got viewers from all over the world and it's great to have you with us here. Comes down towards this final line, sitting on the 8.
Yeah, you know, the horse jumped great. I think she'll be, obviously knowing Carrie, she'll be disappointed, but that horse jumped a really super round, and I think if she's planning on, I don't honestly know if she's going to use this one or George, the hippo, on Saturday, but I think they both jumped really well, so she's got two solid options in either.
8 faults with this one. Lola Stern says, what kind of type of horse would be most successful in the indoor ring? For me, it would have to be an adjustable one.
Yeah, you know, I think at the end of the day, you don't have a lot of options because everything comes up so quick, but being able to make those adjustments I think is very important. So like Adam said, having a horse that's very broke, so to speak, is very important to being able to make those quick adjustments.
And Hope's giving you a hard time because you just jinxed Carrie Ruffer.
I know. She's going to be really mad at me. I'm going to have to avoid her later. Hopefully she's not planning on watching a live stream. Or if she does watch, she'll have the volume down.
I'm going to text her. Carrie McCahill next. Charlie Chaplin S for the USA.
This is a horse that Carrie's had a lot of success with. I think they've been together for 3 years now. She actually trains with Greg Broderick over in Ireland, and they came out for the last 3 weeks. Charlie's very scopy, he's very careful. They've had a lot of good results together. I think she was placed in a Grand Prix in Saint-Tropez a couple of weeks ago. So this is definitely her sort of moving up to this level over the past couple of years, and they're getting very comfortable with each other.
Quick hello to Heather Faulkner, who's watching in Thailand. I'm going to be in Thailand in 2 weeks, Heather, and I cannot wait. I went over to Pattaya for the Asian Championships there, and I was there a couple of months ago, first time in Thailand, and it's such an amazing country. Have you been to Thailand, Mavis?
That was a little bit naughty. I have. A long time ago, I actually went with my family for Thanksgiving. We went to Phuket before the tsunamis, which was obviously terrible, but fortunately it's recovered since then. Oh, I'm not sure what happened there the first time, but that was too bad.
And quite frustrating for her, because I think she was doing a cracking job up until that point.
Yeah, she was working on a really nice round, so I'm not sure if there was a little bit of a miscommunication. Obviously, it's kind of hard to see from where we're sitting.
Well, she's going to finish on a total of 8 faults, puts her just outside the top 40 there. Carrie McCahill, Charlie Chaplin-S. There's that top 40 important for qualification purposes for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Las Vegas. So, the canter wasn't that bad coming off the corner there.
No, I don't know if he just maybe misjudged again with those pinstripes and got a little caught off guard. Here he is for you Aussies that are watching, Harley Brown.
Yeah, lots of people have been asking, is there any Australian riders? Well, this is your sole representative, so good luck to everybody in Australia as Harley Brown goes next with My Lord Cornet.
This horse, I have to say, I'm a huge fan of. He's only 9. He's a Contender Cornet Oblensky gelding. He's got a lot of blood and he's very quirky, but the first time I saw him was actually at this show 2 years ago. He jumped this class as a 7-year-old and just had one down, and I remember watching him and thinking that horse it was so impressive to watch him go around, and Harley does a really great job with him. You can see he's very, he's got a lot of blood, but Harley loves him. He thinks the world of him. He's jumped a lot of big classes. He's very, very consistent and careful. Whoa.
There's that fence again.
Yeah.
And that fence on its own, if it was sitting on alongside somewhere, there's nothing technical about it really other than those pinstripes. It's really the positioning and how related it is to the corner and the fence before.
Yeah, and I don't think it has a lot to do with the rails or anything. I think it has more to do... for those of you who've been asking, we have been joined by Leopoldo himself, who... Yes, it's a good class so far. What do you think, Leopoldo?
I like it.
He likes the course. He said he didn't want to have too many clean, but that he wanted, riders who rode well with 4 faults to be able to get in for Saturday night. So there you have it, folks, from the man himself.
From the horse's mouth. Yeah. Going to finish on 4 and just over that time. 69.70, Harley Brown, My Lord Cornet there for Australia. So pops him down to 28th, still in with a shot to qualify. Of course, great to hear from Leopoldo as well. He's built at the Olympics. He's a regular at Spruce Meadows as well.
I think right now, Leopoldo is always very good at, calling what his numbers are at the start of the class for the number of clears he wants and things. And I think he's pretty on track for, I would say, the 4 and 5 falters to hopefully get in for Saturday night. So again, that's the course building genius at work there.
He's annoyingly good. That's how I would describe it. Caitlin Campbell leads the way. She's back with another one. Durandillo for the USA.
This is a relatively new ride for Caitlin. They were fantastic in the World Cup in Del Mar a couple weeks ago and jumped a really, really great clear round. He got a little bit green on her, I would say, in the Grand Prix at Thermal last week, but Caitlin's such a strong rider and she really just dug in and was able to finish quite well. Well ridden. Whoa. Oh,
She felt that coming.
yeah. The dice jump strikes again. It's too bad.
When you hear the bell, second disobedience. And you can see how competitive Caitlin was there, because rather than using a lot of space to get reorganised, she kind of got organised as quick as she could and got back round there, thinking about that time, but not going to plan.
Yeah, and that's the hard, again, you know, a lot of it comes back to these small indoor rings. You really don't have that much time to come back and readdress when jumps come up that quickly and are that short off the corner.
Here's Ken Dickey running for the USA. Horizontal back, rapidly ranges Campbell C.
This is Ken Dickey. He's standing by with Calva DRZ for the USA. Quick recap of our leaderboard. Caitlin Campbell leads 61.10. Mattia Schwenker in second, 61.11. And we've got Natalie Dean in third on 62.43. If you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, hit the share button, get involved with the conversation. If you want to follow me or Mavis on Instagram, I'm at Adam Cromarty, and she's at Mavis Spencer.
Genius, I know. Oh yeah, for everyone that has sent me messages on Instagram, I promise I will respond to them.
Eventually.
But my multitasking skills are limited to trying to comment on the class as it goes and answering your questions on YouTube and Facebook.
Well, Ken's just taking down one rail.
Yeah, that was too bad. Ken's been riding really well. This is a really nice horse. You know, he's been riding for a number of years now, and it's nice to see him back at this, you know, at this level of sport and looking comfortable and confident and consistent.
So sits on 8 at this stage.
Those oxers.
Comes down towards the last, and it is going to be 8 faults for him tonight. 67.07 there, Ken Dickey for the USA Calva DRZ. Just on the cusp of the qualification into 39th.
Yeah, those two oxers are really the bogey jumps on course this evening. You can see he just got stuck a little bit, and the horse made a really good effort and just wasn't able to get across the back rail.
Jackie Lee's just joined us watching in Ireland after a night shift. Good to see you, Jackie. Whew. Hope you're going to stay with us right to the end now. This is Laura Height coming next then. Calypso van de Zuthove. Another one for the home nation.
Amy, who said, see who the senior lady is. I have already had words with the gentleman about not commenting on ladies' ages.
And it wasn't me this time.
In fairness, it wasn't Adam, but...
Not this time. I did say you were old, but that's different.
Age is just a number, Adam.
There's real focus coming around the corner there.
Yeah, this is a great combination. Laura's had this horse for a couple of years, and they've had a lot of success together. You can see he's a big, scopy, powerful jumper. Jennifer, this is number 55 in the order. So there are 16 left, I think.
Roughly.
Roughly. I was an English major. Numbers are not my strong suit.
At the moment, 8 faults could just scrape in. But still a few nice horses to come. 67.46. That's going to put her in the 40th position. Remember, the reason we're focusing on these lower rankings is because this is a qualifier for the Grand Prix or the World Cup here on Saturday.
Next rider also from the USA. Carrying aboard the 11-year-old gelding.
Miss Jill said, why am I being so rude? I'm only being rude to Mavis, and it's only because she likes it.
Who says who's being rude? Adam, why are you being so rude? He can't help himself. It's
Can't
okay,
help
I'm
it.
used to it.
Maggie Kettering next, Cole Hand for the USA.
Actually, I think Maggie is. I didn't realize she was jumping this. I probably should have paid more attention. But she, I believe, is 17. Oh, Emma is 18 on Saturday. There we go. And yeah, Maggie, I think this will be the biggest class she's ever jumped.
Another one takes that back rail. If you've just joined us, a few have had that for varying reasons, but I think some of them are just anticipating that left-handed turn because it comes at
she's
you
16.
so quickly.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm just very impressed that I was not jumping these classes when I was 16. For those of you who think that you are behind, just, you know, oh, that was too bad. Just wasn't showing up how she wanted it to.
And a real testament to her at 16, you know, having that refusal, then just getting reorganised, not getting flustered and just getting back around there.
Yeah, you know, the biggest thing is she's here to get that experience, and I think to just keep going and stick to it and still be able to come back around to it and ride this well. I believe she trains with Rich Fellers. Yes, so hats off to Rich for producing an excellent young rider and developing her up through the sport. I think she's got a bright future ahead of her.
And a lot to like about that round. You know, she had that rail that lots of people have had down, and then just that refusal, but then gets reorganised and gets the job finished. So
yeah, and I don't think her score reflected how well she rode, so good for her. She should be happy with that. This is a very tough track.
Nice combination, great placing so far. They worked out qualifier second, third in Del Mar.
well, some great combinations still to feature. No change to that leaderboard either. Caitlin Campbell still out in front, 61.10. Mattea Schwenker second, Natalie Dean in third at this stage. Big field, total about 70 coming forward in this one, and you know, we're getting down to about the final 15 or 16. Diana's asking if the World Cup will be on YouTube on Saturday. It won't. It's going to be on FEI TV. It's the only place you can watch that World Cup, and it's definitely one you don't want to miss. So get organised and join us on FEI TV this Saturday night.
This is Carrie Potter. I don't know if you said that. She was actually second in the World Cup last week at Thermal and third in the World Cup at Del Mar. This is a pair that's been together for a while and they really know each other. It's a great mare. She tries really hard and Carrie does a great job with her. That was too bad.
Remember you said you weren't sure if Carrie Ruffer was going to watch? Well, I can tell you she's actually watching right now. She's going to hear you jinxing her.
Well, Carrie, I apologize for that. I'm sorry.
But we were saying nice things about you.
Yeah. She finishes up with 2 down there.
Finishes on the 8 fault, 68.41. So just outside that top 40, heads 42nd at this stage. A lot of the rides we've seen could easily have been a clear on any other night. Sometimes it comes down to just a little bit of luck.
Yeah, she just shifted a little bit left on her there.
Alex Volpe comes next in with Absolute, back with a second ride.
Yeah, this is a relatively new horse for Alex. It actually came, I believe, from Edward Levy, who is a French rider. And again, another client of Carly Brown's, and they really do find great horses. It's got blood, it's scopy, it's a really good type.
It's got all the ingredients. Some to work hard just to keep that straightness down there.
Yeah, you know, especially in indoors, the horses can sometimes start to get a little bit shifty, so she definitely did a good job keeping it straight there.
And when it has that little wiggle, it can really affect the distance as well.
Yeah.
Someone asking, is there a lot of rules and restrictions on types of breed of horses that can compete at this or a higher level? There's no restrictions on breed.
No, I mean, I remember growing up, you saw a lot more variety, like a lot of people were riding thoroughbreds. Richard Spooner had a couple really great ones that he showed at the top level. I think the sport has moved away from that some, but I know I grew up riding thoroughbreds, and I think, you know, they're wonderful. Not that warm bloods aren't great, but it's a total different type. So really, I mean, I think if you have a horse that can jump this, there's nothing stopping you from doing it.
Horse Pony Fun says, unlucky Alex. And I think that was unlucky.
Yeah, it was too bad. Looked like she got maybe a little bit rushed through that corner to the pinstripe, but the other one was definitely just a bit of bad luck.
Well, Delaney Flynn already having to work quite hard here with Milan. But Delaney, you know, knows this horse well. And sometimes the best ones have a little bit of quirkiness about them.
Yeah, you know, a lot of professionals will tell you, I think that's what makes them good horses, is when they have that little bit of, you know, something extra.
Well, let's see what she can do. Caitlin Campbell still out in front. 61.10 is the time to be beaten. Someone asking how high is this class? The fence is out there standing at about 1.50 m.
Yeah, Delaney knows this horse very well. She picked up the ride, I think probably 2 years ago. And they've really stepped up and have gotten really consistent at this level now. It's a very quick horse. He's very careful, and she does a very good job with him.
She's competitive.
Yeah. You know, this horse is naturally quick, so I think a big part of it is going along with his style and the rhythm that he likes, and, you know, that's just a naturally quick pace.
Oh. Is this going to be a good recovery? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Oh, that was too bad.
Yeah.
I think that trip really threw her off, but she was very fast.
Yeah, and there was nothing she could have done there, nothing the horse could have done.
No, it's just a bit of bad luck, really.
It almost arrived kind of sideways on, and good on them for getting up in the air.
Staying up, yeah. And he made a great effort at the Liverpool. You know, there just wasn't much they could do.
That finishes on the 4 and heads 17th, so, you know, guaranteed to qualify for the World Cup here on Saturday.
Aoife wants to know, hello from Ireland, are there many Irish competitors? Yes, Greg Broderick has already shown, and further down, I think in a couple of trips, we will see Connor Swale. So you have two Irish riders, it's a bit of a tongue twister, showing this evening.
This is Andrew Ramsey. Andrew was the fastest 4-fault round when he competed. He still is. That was with Stranger, his first ride. Now back with California. And he's had this one quite a while as well, actually, I think.
Yeah, this is, again, another more experienced one. This is a 15-year-old mare that he's had for quite a while now. And, again, it's very competitive, very careful, and a really, really nice horse. Made a good effort there to get across that back rail. Andrew really helped her. You can see she jumps in very classic style. And again, Andrew's such a light, you know, effective rider.
Jill Caldwell says another great track. Leopoldo always the best.
Agreed. We will tell him you said that.
We will. Brenda says it's too late for the horses. Well, I can tell you, Brenda, these horses adjust so well because, you know, at the top level, they're competing all over the world. It's a little bit like us. I only came from Toronto, and I thought 3 hours would make a difference, and it did, but within a day you adjust, and it's the same for the horses.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
wow.
Look at that
was
time.
Slick, yeah.
59.57. Andrew Ramsey up to the top. And a bit like Caitlin, you know, he wasn't galloping at these fences. He just found really slick, tight returns and a nice route round.
Yeah, you know, again, he's so good with his eye and with his rhythm and his pace and his track, and that inside turn back to the Liverpool was very, very slick. So you can see Andrew's quite happy with that, and you know that mare has a lot of experience, which helps in these situations as well. See that turn back there. She really gave him a good effort.
Ralph's just joined us. He says good morning from Germany. 7 o'clock there. Morning, Ralph. Good to have you with us. And here's Olivia Chowdhury next. Chuck Berry. The USA. New time to beat then, 59.57. It's going to take a bit of beating.
I know that's going to be hard to beat. Looking down this list, I definitely think we have a great group of horses and riders left to come, but it's going to be a test to do that and leave all the fences up. Olivia trains with Katie and Henri Prudhomme, who are out here from the West Coast, from the East Coast. They are out on the West Coast from the East Coast. She had a couple great placings recently, including she jumped the 5-star Grand Prix in Tryon last month with just one down. This horse was previously ridden by Abby McCardle, who we saw earlier this evening, and then Olivia bought it. They've really gotten to know each other at this level.
Oh.
Not quite sure what happened there.
A couple have done that, actually.
I think it's hard too, you know, it's right up against the wall, and obviously we were talking about that curtain earlier, and maybe that just sort of throws them off guard a little bit.
Catches their focus.
Yeah.
13 the total, 12 jumping, 1 time, 13 there. Olivia Chowdhury and Chuck Berry, 72.43. Chelsea Jessica really likes that horse. Judy Hall says, who says mares can't jump? Nobody I know, Judy. You heard that before?
Sorry?
Are you with us?
Yeah, kind of.
Judy says,
Just
who
scrolling
says
through these questions and trying to keep up with everything.
who says mares can't jump? And I said, no one I've heard of. I've never heard that before, that mares can't jump.
I am a huge fan of mares. I definitely think there are some people that prefer, you know, like with anything, that prefer geldings or prefer stallions, but I've had a lot of really good mares. Actually, growing up, my best horse, Winia, was a mare, and I think that was the horse that for me really, you know, made me realize that I wanted to be a professional in this sport. So I don't think anyone says that mares can't jump, or if they do, they're not very smart.
That's right. You heard it from Mavis. Mariano Maggi on track, Quintago VA. It's his second ride, but I would say out of the two, he probably knows this one a little bit better. He's done a bit more with this one.
Yeah, and this one's definitely, you know, a bit of a speedier type as well. Working on a very good round now. You can see, I don't know if he'll do it, and I don't want to jinx him, but he's, you know, his way of jumping, you can see him kick back in the air a little bit over the fences, and like right there. He's got a bit of his own style, but it works for him. Tidy back there.
Oh, a little rump there.
Jumped that well, though.
Vanessa says normally when it comes to prize givings, the horses don't tend to stand still. What causes them to do this? And I think it's just because these are, you know, hot-blooded competition animals that maybe just finished a jump off. They get a bit of adrenaline as well. And that was nice. 61.48. So that's going to go into a very good position. Heads into fourth there for Mariano Maggi. Would you agree with what I was saying, Mavis, that it's just because they're kind of hot-blooded and still a bit excited from a jump off?
Yeah, you know, and I think horses are kind of like, you know, have so many different personalities and are so individual. Like, I've had ones that were only good in prize givings if they won. If there was another horse in front of them, they were, you know, strong and not happy. Whereas if they were the first one standing in the lineup, you know, they stood like a king or a queen and loved getting their photos taken and all of that. So I definitely think it depends on the horse. when I worked for Kent, I took care of a horse named Yuseiko, and he was banned from prize givings because he was so bad. So, you know, it just kind of depends on the horse, but I don't think there's one thing or another that you could really put your finger on that makes them good or bad at it.
This is Captain Brian Kernane now, Penelope Cruz. He was jumping over in thermal and just decided to go on a road trip, so he hired a car and he's driven from thermal over here in a Cadillac.
Wow.
Fun fact.
That's one way to do it. I mean, that is a famous route.
It's about, what, 4.5 hours from thermal to here?
I believe so, yeah. I haven't done that drive in about 2 years now, but I would say about
Probably
that.
hasn't changed.
Wah, wah, wah.
Horse Pony Fun says, anyone from New Zealand? We had 2. We had Uma O'Neill and we had another one.
Guy Thomas.
Guy Thomas, it was him.
There
yeah,
you go.
There you go.
Ugh, it's too bad. This is a very competitive mare. Brian thinks a lot of her. She won a big class out in thermal. She always actually tends to, you know, come away from the show with a good win.
.63.47 finishes on the 4, so let's check out. Yes, he's in 22nd, so guaranteed to feature here in the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Las Vegas, taking place this Saturday. Equestria Jumper just joined and says hi. Hi, right back at you.
Let's see, Peggy, do you think there is an inside turn from jump 1 to 2, Lola? No. I mean, when we were walking, we all sort of took a look, but I just don't think it's worth it. Even on foot, you know, it looked very short, and I can only imagine that landing from that jump and having to turn inside, yeah, it would really stall you, and then, you know, that vertical is quite tall and you don't have much room, so I just, you know, the inside turn isn't always faster.
Danielle Lynn on track then, Dexaminka. Equestria Jumper says Mavis is the best, which obviously I'm going to take great offence at, but also says, are you doing reining now?
I did take a reining lesson on Saturday, and it was so much fun. And I definitely plan on doing it again, and I'm not going to say that you won't see me potentially at a reining show in the future.
She did well there.
Work that out, yeah. Looks like she's maybe just having a bit of trouble with the bridle here.
Ulla Stern's asking a follow-up question. You know, she was the one that said, could you make a turn from 1 to 2? She's saying, is there places where they can make up time on this course? And I think with what we've seen, you just have to be slick. It's not really a one turn.
No, I think if you carry a good pace and rhythm, you know, the thing about indoor rings is there aren't a lot of places for you to necessarily leave out strides by going fast other than using your track. So I think, you know, being tidy where you can on your rollbacks but not taking too much risk. You know, obviously there's still only 12 clear rounds in this class, so if you can be clear and within the time, you know, that's very important. So I think it depends what you're looking to do. If you're just looking to qualify for Saturday night, I think you don't try and take too many risks and really give yourself time and space where you need to. But if you're going for the win, obviously, you know, the inside turn back to the Liverpool going into the last line is the only place that you really can take the option. Otherwise, I think just being, you know, slick everywhere is really important.
Nicola Hine Russ then, he's already sitting in 6th with that first ride, now comes back with Crusador Z. Another of his string. Again, he's based at Spruce Meadows these days.
And I think this is the horse.
Whoa.
Well, there's the inside
that
turn. Oh, yeah. See,
and
it's just really short.
Yeah, and I just think you waste time almost because...
And you risk that happening, you know. I think it just slows you down so much and you take so much momentum away. It's very hard. You know, these aren't small fences we're talking about. I think realistically, if this was a meter 10 class, I would say take a shot, you know, why not? But when you're trying to roll back on a meter 50 vertical, I think it's very difficult to do that well and make it worth it.
And because you have to lose the power, when you land, if you did manage it, you're met with quite a powerful oxer off the corner. Very easy from up here to say, though.
Yeah.
Good on him for trying.
Yeah, I mean, really, that is kind of, it's a matter of, you know, seconds. If you look at the margin even between second and third, 1/100th of a second. So he's just trying to find ways to make that even quicker.
And to be fair to him, I think, you know, he sits in 6th. He knows he's qualified for the World Cup. He probably thought, may as well give it a go.
Take a shot, yeah. I mean, you can't blame him for it.
No. So finishes on 4 jumping one time. Total of 5 there for Nicola Hine Russ, Denmark, 72.84.
Jennifer, can one rider qualify 2 horses? No, only 1 rider and 1 horse combination will go on Saturday night. They can choose which horse they want to ride as long as the horse has completed an FEI class before that, but it's just 1 horse and 1 rider combination for Saturday. And they take back 45 for Natalie Clark, who asked what is the number to qualify for Saturday. And I don't believe we have any pre-qualified riders competing here. At some shows, they have Olympic medalists, I think European champions.
And they would qualify for the finals automatically.
Yes.
Jen Gates comes next. Alex for the United States of America. Jen back with her second ride. We saw her a little bit earlier.
Yeah, this is a great horse that actually was owned by Copernicus, which were the Coulter family who Harry trained previous to Jen. And this was a great horse that really helped Audrey, you know, step up and start jumping bigger classes. And Harry thought it would be a good horse, you know, to help Jen compete at this level and sort of build her string up. And they've had a lot of success together.
Just asking for a bit more in the canter she came across there. That sets up nicely.
Yeah, he's so clever, this horse. See, he's really making an effort here.
Come on, Jen.
Told me to ask.
59.57 to beat. Not going to quite beat that, but what a tremendous effort there. 61.41, going to take her into 4th place. Jen Gates for the USA there with Alex. That's a real competitive horse. She had some good placings in Spruce Meadows over the summertime and now heads straight to the top.
Yeah, I think she'll be happy with that round. You know, the horse jumped really well. She rode really well. Obviously, I'm sure she would have liked to be a little bit quicker, but I think it was a great round.
Kerry Long's asking, have you ever used the strips on the horse's nose that Danielle is using? This is Cassio Rivetti, by the way, about to get underway with Fenna.
I have. I think it's very big in racehorses. It's supposed to hold open their nasal passage in order to help them breathe, which I think in an arena like this, when you're constantly indoors, or if you have one that maybe has trouble breathing, it helps them get more oxygen to their lungs. I've had a couple of horses that I've used it on that I thought it helped a lot with. But it's not necessarily something like blinders or, you know, blinkers that people can sort of put on a lot of different horses. I think it is very specific. If a horse needs it, you know, you put it on and use it for them.
And horses have got huge lungs. If you haven't seen a picture of a horse's lungs before, it's definitely worth Googling. They're absolutely massive.
This is a 9-year-old Sirocco Blue mare. Cassio actually won a Grand Prix with her towards the end of the summer, and you know, she wouldn't have a ton of experience at this level, but I think it's got a lot of quality and a lot of promise. It's kind of a shame about that fence there.
Someone asking about the competition on Saturday. That's the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Las Vegas. It is only available on FEI TV. It will be about the same time, but only on FEI TV. 8 faults tonight, 65.08 for Cassio Rivetti and Fenna. Going to be outside the top 40. Andrew Ramsey still leading, 59.57 to beat.
And I think we're down to the last 5 horses, actually.
Yeah, not many left at all. Caitlin Campbell second, Matthias Schwenker in third. So that's our top 3 at this stage. Connor Swale comes next then, Cos van Heist for Ireland.
For Aoife, who asked earlier, here's our second rider in the competition. This horse is also 9, but it's actually been jumping at this level, I would say, pretty consistently for about a year now. They had a big win in Toronto, or I think it was in Calgary actually last year in the 100,000. And you know, Connor thinks a lot of this horse. He's had a couple wins in Caledon, was second in the World Cup in Sacramento, was third in the GP the week before that. You know, it's just a very consistent, big scopy.
Whoa.
You can see there, just so easy for it.
Connor was at the Royal Winter Fair in Toronto. It was the previous leg of the World Cup North American League just last week.
Yeah, these riders, Aaron Ballard was competing there as well, and they really, you know, it's such a tough schedule to keep when they're constantly, I mean, if you have enough horses for it, you sort of have 2 sets running, and Connor's got a couple that are on the East Coast and a couple that are out here. Last week, James, who works with him, actually showed this horse in thermal to sort of keep it going while Connor was away in Toronto. I think he'll be disappointed with that. But he wouldn't be the first one to be caught out by the pinstripe boxer.
No, absolutely. Some people call them the mafia rails. It's a bit of an optical illusion. It's 63.10 there. Connor Swale, Cos van Heist. So still good enough to qualify though. Gets him through for the World Cup here on Saturday.
Shar has called us out for clucking. I can't help it.
I don't think it was me. I think it was you.
I think it probably was me.
I
was
any
full
us.
responsibility for that. Yeah, there was no we. It was only me. I'm sorry if that's distracting. I'll try and turn my mic off when I do that.
Lawrence is joining us online from South Africa. He says hello. Good to have you with us. Final few horses, but keep hitting that share button. Keep getting involved with the conversation. It's been so great having all of you guys get interactive with us online on the FEI Facebook, FEI YouTube channel as well. And this is Will Simpson getting quite the reaction as he joins us tonight here with Chaco P for the United States of America.
This is another 9-year-old. I think someone had asked earlier what the sort of median age of the horses is. And, you know, we have 8-year-olds that are jumping this. We have a 17-year-old that's jumping this, but it seems like we have quite a few 9-year-olds. So without taking a look, I would say that, you know, there's quite a few horses in this class that are 9 years old. And as I'm sure everyone can guess, this is a Chaco Blue gelding. Will, I believe, has had him for about 2 years now. And they're very competitive. You know, it's a lot of horse. Will's taken a lot of time to really get him broke and rideable, but he's got a lot of jump. He's very careful, and they're very competitive.
Jen says she loves Chaco P. Piper Pixie says loves his helmet. And I love the Chaco Blue horses, actually. They're normally really clean through the front end.
Yeah, and they can be a little bit, that was lucky. You can see him as he was going through a couple of the fences there. They can be a little bit spooky and sharp at times, but Will's done a really good job bringing this one along. Shoot. Wasn't sure if he's going to pull that one off. Wow, it's a quick time too.
I'm so frustrated for him because after that earlier little bit of luck he had, he really deserved to go clear today, but he's going to finish on 4, 61.08. Again, qualifies to get through to that World Cup here on Saturday.
Yeah, just taking a look here now, I think you have your 5 falters are sitting in, oh, that can't be right, 29th.
Yeah, Will goes to 21st position. The cutoff at 40.
Oh, so 38th position. I just, 38th is 5 faults. So 2 left. I mean, you might see a couple of 8 faulters in there, but it's...
And a large proportion of that, you know, clear in 4 faults.
Yeah, I mean, Leopoldo was pretty accurate with that.
Let's not tell him though.
No, you both had big enough egos, bless.
It's nothing compared to yours. Richard Spooner's next, Curado RC for the
Miss
USA.
Jules, where are you to tell Adam that he's being rude? Jennifer, I agree. I feel for Will greatly. He worked very hard and deserved to be clear.
Piper Pixie says, look how white this horse's mane is.
OxyClean.
Is
Just
that
kidding. No.
top tip?
No, don't do that, kids. Stay away from the OxyClean.
Don't try that at home.
Yeah. Also, remember to watch out your purple shampoo.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than a purple mane if you leave it in for too long. Fun facts of the trade. I think someone asked earlier if the riders have nicknames.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And Richards is definitely the master of faster. He's had this horse for a while now. I believe it was actually bred by Rancho Corazon, which is Chenoa McIlvaine's family out of New Mexico. And they've been on a few Nations Cup teams together. They've had a lot of good results. Richard's done a really good job with him.
I'm not opposed to bigger bits, but I have to say it's nice to see just how simple this horse's tack is.
Yeah, you know, a nice snaffle, no martingale. Richard's definitely a very classy horseman and never has a lot going on. I think he would probably wouldn't feel bad if I called him a minimalist.
Jennifer says, first you comment about her weight, then your ego. I never said anything about your weight, did I?
I hope not. I would have smacked him by now, Jennifer, if you hadn't said anything about my weight.
Yeah, I mean, she has got a huge ego and she's getting old, but never mentioned her weight. Finishes on 4, 64.72 there for Richard Spooner. Again, goes into 29th, so will qualify. I'd never do that, would I, Mavis?
Fortunately, there's only one left, so there's hopefully not enough time for him to comment on that, but we do have 3 days left of commentary, so you never know where it could go.
You never know. Angel Caroli comes next with Cooper, Venezuela. Miss Jules is back defending you.
Thank you, Miss Jules.
Heather
That is a glorious whitetail. I agree, Heather.
Heather's also asking, do any of the other riders have nicknames? Do you know any other nicknames that we can repeat on air?
Not off the top of my head, looking back at this list.
You could make some up, no one will know.
Not really my thing.
Right, let's find out then. Andrew Ramsey leads 59.57. Angel Caroli and Cooper certainly got the talent to have a go at that time. It's going to take some beating though. They know if they want to try and beat it, they've got to take every turn. They've really got to open up as well. Andy's asking who designed the course and how does it compare to other big shows. It's Leopoldo Palacios who designed this. How does it compare in terms of track? It's relatively the same as you see at any of these kind of big World Cup events. Bethany says, Mavis, what's your nickname?
Where did she say that? Oh God.
She did, see?
Bethany, it's way past your bedtime.
Maybe we could make one up. What do you think we should call Mavis, Bethany?
Let's not play this game because this is the last horse on course and I haven't smacked you yet, much to everyone else's chagrin. So, this is Angel Caroli on a 12-year-old gelding Cooper. This is a horse that he's had. He won a Grand Prix this summer with him, but he's taken it quite slow. Whoa. And I think, sorry everyone, you know, you can really tell Angel thinks a lot of this horse, and obviously he's got a lot of quality and a lot of talent, but he just moved him up to this level this fall. And every time he comes out, I was commenting to Angel earlier, you know, the horse just gets better and better, and I think he's done a really good job with him, and he will be absolutely thrilled with that round.
Yeah, indeed. 67.71, going to go 13th there. Great round, 13th place. So definitely qualified, definitely in with a great shot. And that horse, I mean, it's scopy, it's careful, it's clever, And look how clean it is behind as well.
Yeah, I mean, he jumped that. I think, Angel had to work a bit, but that horse just really, really jumped well the whole way around and gave a super effort.
Well, that is it. We can confirm Andrew Ramsey takes that victory here today. Caitlin Campbell led for such a long time. She'll finish in the second place. Matija Schwenker in third. So that is our top 3 here. And what a competition. And, we've still got the prize giving to go. We're going to take a quick look side by side of our top 2 in just a second as well. But for now, thanks to everybody who's been getting involved in the conversation. It's been so much fun having you alongside me and Mavis on YouTube and on the FEI Facebook channels as well. Don't forget, you can follow Mavis on Instagram at Mavis Spencer. You can follow me at Adam Cromarty, and it would be great to hear from you. And of course, we've got another 3 days to go, Mavis, together in harmony.
Hopefully in harmony. I have very long arms, so no matter how far away from me you sit, I'll probably be able to reach out and give you a smack if you need it. So let's go ahead and head over to our split screen before we talk about any more of that.
Okay, well, let's have a look then. Let's see how Andrew Ramsey and Caitlin Campbell compare side to side. And I think it's going to be really, really close. You can see here, I mean, Caitlin's actually almost out in front to the land here.
Well, and she just got a little bit caught up in that turn, I think, more than she wanted to, and then they really catch back up here. But they're very similar types. I would say Caitlin's is a little bit of a bigger horse, but they both have that, quick sort of way of going. And again, mares, case in point, the top 2 are both mares.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Caitlin's actually ahead here on the split. But I think where Andrew really was slick was the roll back here and then again to the pinstripe.
And then Caitlin was quite tight here.
Yeah.
They were sort of neck
really
and neck,
so
wasn't
close.
it?
And then it was this inside turn, yeah.
And hardly anything separating them down towards these last couple of fences, but then you can see, he really opens up.
I mean, his roll back into that last line was just so smooth, and it showed right up for him. So I think that's definitely where, where he was able to shave that nearly 1.5 seconds off, because they really were neck and neck for a majority of the class.
And she was in front almost at times. But there's that full result, though. And it is Andrew Ramsey that takes the win. Caitlin Campbell second. Matija Schwenker down in third place. We're getting set and we are getting ready for the prize giving ceremony here. Again, thank you to everybody who has been joining us on YouTube, on Facebook. Heather's, where is it in Vegas? We're at the South Point Hotel, which is a great facility because this equestrian centre is actually part of the hotel, and it's also got like 12 restaurants, tons of bars, casino, 12-screen cinema, hairdressers, gym, everything. You have to remind yourself
bowling
to go
alley.
outside. Bowling
Adam's
alley.
A great bowler, for those of you who were wondering.
And if you're ever looking for Mavis, she's always at the bingo.
Yes. Goes with my grandma persona and personality. I see what you did there.
Yeah, see? Piper saying congratulations, everybody. Kaylee Murray says thank you for a great night. Piper Pix says great commentary, thank you so much. Great questions. We've had some really good questions tonight.
Yeah. I think everyone had a lot of great questions and insights into it as well. So make sure you tune in tomorrow and especially Saturday night for some more great show jumping.
Yeah, tomorrow's competition will be on the USEF network. Then when we get towards Saturday, the first of the FEI competitions, which is going to be a winning round, that's on FEI YouTube and FEI Facebook. Then the World Cup is on FEI.tv. Heather's been doing her research. She says there's a regular bowling alley and a professional area bowling alley, and it's two completely separate places. So there's the fun one where you can go and just try and knock things down. But yeah, then there's a huge big one, which is for professionals, and they actually have competitions here.
I think professional or for fun, the idea is to knock them down, though, Adam.
Yeah, you think? Thanks for that great insight. Emily says, where's Eve Jobs? She's in Paris this weekend. There you go.
Now you know.
Anyone else you want to know where they are? Well, backstage they'll be getting organised for this prize-giving ceremony. and then they're going to be coming forward. You can see the ring crew just making space. Final chance to get any last-minute questions in. Carol Driver says thank you to the commentators. Ian Clark's just joined. He's a course designer from the UK who I think will be at the Amateur and Veteran Championships this week. Lizzie Gingras from Canada, she's just joined. And Amy says, I love bingo. You've got a friend to go with.
We had this conversation last year, actually, and I never made it to bingo, so I might have to add it to my itinerary for this year.
Tomorrow night is the Hunter Derby.
Bethany,
and as we're
Bethany.
both too old to go out, and we're not going to be commentating on the Hunter Derby, do you know any more about hunters than I do?
I showed hunters very briefly as a junior, and even as a sales rider, I only did Tuesday warm-ups. I did not try and compete with those professionals in that division, so I left it to the true professionals.
So for the Hunter Derby tomorrow night, maybe we can go bingo.
It's a date.
Let's do it. Last couple of jumps coming out now. Joking aside, I mean, that was a real interesting competition, Mavis, because we saw some real twists, some real turns. And on any day, you know, those with 4 or even 8 faults could have actually been up at the top.
Yeah, and, you know, I think having watched the first 2 go, my impression was that it was going to be a lot easier than I think it ended up being. But, you know, that's part of, I suppose you can call it Leopoldo's charm, is he's so good at building tracks where, you know, you definitely can point out, I would say the 2 big bogey jumps on course were the end oxer and obviously the dice oxer, but at the same time there really were rails all over the place. You can't particularly say there were a lot of absolute catastrophes, but I think it was a good class ahead of Saturday night's World Cup.
Here's a question that maybe you can answer. Bethany says, I hear the Chippendales are performing before tomorrow night's class.
You weren't going to get smacked, but now you're going to get smacked. Also, Bethany, go to bed.
She says, Mavis, can you confirm the above?
I'll let you know. Adam will probably make it there before I do, but I'll make sure he fills us all in.
Piper says, is there any reason they pull out all the plants? Well, those plants are actually moved around. They're there just for arena decoration. So yeah, they're just making way so the horses can come in and line up and get those ribbons. And it looks like they're actually mimicking the presentation for the World Cup, which is a very kind of set format. So this is almost a bit of a rehearsal for that. We're going to see that after the World Cup on Saturday. But they are getting ready for the prize-giving ceremony. We're going to hand over now to Davin. He's our ring announcer here. He's going to take us through that prize-giving ceremony today. But once again, a huge thank you to everyone who has got involved with the conversation. It's been great chatting with you. Final reminder, you can follow Mavis on Instagram at Mavis Spencer. You can follow me at Adam Cromarty. Very original names we've found on Instagram.
Yes. Well, at least it's obvious. It makes it easy.
It's obvious. That's very true. Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your night or your morning, wherever you are in the world. And join us again back on USEF Network tomorrow and, of course, on Saturday. Right back here where you've been watching today, and then on FEI TV on Saturday night for the World Cup.
And joining us on the red carpet, Melissa Brandis, the Vice President of Marketing, and Alexandra Zulia, our two presenters this evening. Yeah, now John Franzreb, our ringmaster, escorting Andrew Ramsey, the champion of the $36,000 Las Vegas National FEI Welcome Speed Classic, into place. And ladies and gentlemen, with our top 5 back in the ring, we'd ask you to please rise as we honor our champion, Andrew Ramsey, with the playing of the national anthem of the United States of America. What an amazing horse rider combination there in first. Andrew Ramsey and California as they put the USA on top of the leaderboard, our $36,000 Las Vegas National FEI Welcome Speed Classic. And Melissa Brandis, the Vice President of Marketing for Blenheim Equisports, meeting Andrew Ramsey and California, the 15-year-old champion mare. And we invite Melissa Brandis to meet our other placings. Actually, in fact, we'll have Andrew Ramsey move off, have that official photograph taken as well in front of the Longines clock. Let's be placings 2 through 5. Second place, Campbell for the USA. For Germany, Matthias Fender. Fourth to Jennifer Gates. And fifth place for Sweden, Maria Magi. And that's Melissa Bradley, Vice President of Marketing. Back to the red carpet. One more thing. We'll have Andrew Ramsey and California lead our field in our victory ride. Top placings, the Las Vegas National FEI Welcome Speed. The champion for the USA, Andrew Ramsey. Caitlin Campbell in second, Matthias Becker for Germany in third, Jennifer Gates in fourth, and Mario Nagi in fifth place. The Bradley Cooper Award, California, horse owned by the California Group, 15-year-old Grey Mare, with a win at Holsteiner. And that is California and the rider put the stars and stripes on top of the podium this evening. And the rider, Andrew Ramsey. Well, that concludes competition here for this beautiful Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us for the Las Vegas National FEI Welcome Speed. We'll see you tomorrow.
Most conferences, all roads lead to Las Vegas, to the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Final. But nothing in this sport is easy, and this is a prize that isn't awarded. It has to be earned. By competing for crucial points against the sport's very best across North America to seize the opportunity to jump for the Cup in Vegas next spring. In the end,